Yo, 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 everybody, what is up? OCD Mikey, Hi-Fi Guy, here again for you all. Front and center, ready to go, ready for another edition of the show, where y'all get to say hi to Mikey and I get to say hi to you all again and again each week. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. So let me get on with welcome back. What is it today? It's the 28th of September, 2025. And the world just keeps getting more crazy and more crazy. Let me rotate this so you guys can see it straight on when I'm looking the other way. This hat doesn't quite sit down on my head the way I like to have them sit down. So let us go right off. Maurice first. He was the first one in line, right? Welcome. Deborah Lee. Hi, dear. How are you? Hey, everybody. Yeah, it's Deborah Lee. You can definitely tell the difference, as we found out at the Hi-Fi show. But having said that, our system with the Fisher and Fisher still kicks ass. You know it. Absolutely. No, it's not needed. But and I'll get into it later before I launch into the whole thing. Hey, Nikki, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Hey, Tribe from Portland. What's up, Tommy boy? Good to see you, man. I'm going to be out there sooner or later, man. Sooner or later. Oh, fuck. I need to get my ass out there before it's just rain. Yabba dabba doo. Location yellow teal bars, huh? What are yellow teal bars? I know what yellow bars are. White bars, yellow bars. Hey, please tell me those hats are available from 11 Stereo. Yeah, I can get you some, man. I can get you some. You just let me know, man, if you want a hat. Hey, Tommy, come over next week. Is Carl, you're in Portland? Carl's got panels, man. He wants to tell you all about them. Eric, what's up, man? Welcome, brother. Welcome everybody to the live show, to the live stream. So check this out. Check what I heard this week from somebody else. Now I've heard from two people that have Mola Mola DACs that they've had to go back for repair. I don't normally hear about DACs, which have no moving parts, going back for repair. But now I've heard from two separate people. The Mola Mola Tambaki was having issues, two different guys, and they had to send it back, and it was a complete cluster. It had to go to Canada, and it took a very long time for one of these guys. Yeah, and it was a pain in the ass having to send to Canada and all that crap, and they had to pay for it. So if anybody else has any stories about their Mola Mola breaking, let's see if there's any sort of a pattern. Let's see what else. Clark checking in from Oahu. What's up, Clark? Good to see you, man. Alan Watson, what's up? Good to see you. What was other news? I had some other news to say. Oh, yeah, because I keep getting I get horror stories, right? People tell me they're horror stories. So here's another one for you. A customer, a friend and customer of mine decided to buy something from a different dealer, which is never a good idea. But anyways, and they did, and they bought something from a dealer, an integrated, my customer was looking for an all-in-one integrated and wanted to give business to someone that was nearby him, another dealer that he knew. And the dealer gave him somewhat of a discount on this thing, and he got it, received it. It was, and it was supposed to be a all-in-one. An all-in-one. What do you guys think all-in-one means? We all ought to have the same idea in mind what all-in-one means. All-in-one is a freaking DAC a pre, and a DAC, and integrated with a DAC, and a streamer too. That's an all-in-one. All-in-one has everything. All you do is plug it into the Ethernet and put your speakers in. Put your speakers on. Well, this thing came and it was just an integrated amp. It didn't even have a DAC. It was just an integrated. And this was a $26,000 retail piece. He paid 20 grand. And when he called the dealer to tell him, and he called him and said, hey, this thing doesn't have a DAC and it's not what I wanted. The dealer said, well, I don't take things back. I don't take returns. Sorry, you can't send it back. He basically got left holding the bag. So you see why I keep talking about the fact that I take things back from people if they want. I guarantee it. I figure there's no way that you're going to know if you like something unless you are able to try it. And then if you don't like it, you can send it back. That's why I sell so few products, because they're ones that I know are going to deliver. And even if somebody doesn't like it because for whatever reason, and God forbid something happens in shipping, like if something happens in shipping and it's making a weird noise or there's a buzz or something like that, if that happens, I come and get it. I don't make anybody pay for return shipping. I come and get it, and then I check it out. Then I listen to it. If it's not buzzing for me, then you're going to pay for return shipping, and I'll still give you all your money back. But if it is buzzing, then you didn't pay for return shipping. Then I'm going to replace it for you if you want, or give you all your money back. So it's harder and harder to find people that are willing to do that in audio. And it is a huge thing. Integrated. Was the dealer in Atlanta? No. Coda CCISB 118 watts for sale. Good stuff. Cost cake. What the hell does that mean, dude? All I have to do is pay you in cake. Yeah. So those are some of the crazy things. Man, I just keep seeing more and more audio channels popping up left and right, man. Channels from India, channels from wherever, man. And they're all telling you how to set up and telling you how to do this and telling you how to do that stuff I was doing 6 years ago. And there may have been people even before me doing it. I'm sure there was. But it's just getting more and more convoluted. This game is going to turn cuckoo. I heard it through the grapevine of a magazine reviewer that is getting ready to. I don't know if he's getting ready to bail, but he wants to leave. I don't know if he's gonna leave, but he wants to bail, and it's because he said things keep getting more expensive and more expensive, and it's becoming something for the elitist, elites, and it's no longer. It's just it's spoiled. It's becoming spoiled. In many ways, the car industry has too, which is super unfortunate. Remember, you used to be able to work hard and buy a Porsche. You could go work hard, buy a Porsche, and own a 911. Nowadays, you just can't do that. I mean, not the normal hardworking guy. If you were making 100 grand a year or whatever, even 80, you could afford to have a Porsche back in the day, right? Now they're 250, and they're treating them like they're some sort of exotic, which it's not an exotic. Okay. But they act like it's an exotic, 250. But then again, you look at Lambo, the Revuelto starts at 650. Now Lambos are, I don't know much about the whole Lambo line, so I don't know what their other ones, like what does Huracan start at? But all I know is Porsche in 250 grand is just like, for a basic, not even a turbo, man, just like a basic 911 GT3 or whatever. What was I driving? A GT, not a GT3, even lower, a GT, a 911 a 911 GTS is what I was driving. 911 GTS 950. I'm sorry, 250. 911 GTS 250. So it's pretty crazy. The world is just getting whacked. The world is just getting whacked. I am, and I'll tell you what, and I've always told you guys this from the beginning, and gals, is that if things get fucked up in the industry, I will start commissioning products to be made. I have the contacts, I have the money and the backing to get things made. Um, we will just make our own stuff, and then I'll get it to you guys at proper pricing. If I need to, that's what I'll do, you know. Um, it's turning into a joke. The audio industry is just it's turning into a joke, you know. Um, at least 3 DACs that I know of are over $200,000 now. Probably a dozen now are over 100,000, and 50 is commonplace. So it's pretty crazy. And then I talked about an $8,000 DAC the other day, and people were like, that is so expensive. I guess I'm just picking up viewers that never have seen my channel, and just viewers that just aren't used to high-end audio. And so they think that is an expensive DAC. I mean, look, it's expensive for normal society. Sure, $8,000 isn't chump change. Okay. It's a decent chunk of change. But when we're talking about luxury products, and namely luxury high-end audio, then 8,000 is a cheap DAC. It's not an expensive DAC when we're in the realm of high-end audio. And this kind of segues into the talk of the night, and I'd like to hear from you all what you think. I've got people that will sit and argue. In fact, after I made that $8,000 DAC video, I got a call from one. I won't even say his name if he doesn't want me to, but he can come on here and say if he wants to be. But we became friends because he's a full naysayer. He started out being a troll, like, on my channel, and I blocked him, and he was so upset that I blocked him that he, like, called me. I was like, dude, why did you block me, man? You know, and he started giving me shit. And I'm like, well, dude, because you're, like, you know, you're not even making sense, and we're not even. So we ended up talking it out. And after getting to know me, we became buddies. He's like, all right, man, you're just like me, but in a different way. So he called again. We haven't talked in a while. And he sat and was really adamant that if you took my rig and then you took a good $10,000 or $15,000 rig, and you put them both and you swapped, you had the same room and you swapped out the systems, that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That is far from the truth. That is very far from the truth. And what I tell people that actually think that you can't tell the difference, that they actually think that there isn't, that it's so close that you could do a blind test and people would have a hard time. I told him, I'll fly you here to come and listen, dude. Like, I'll buy you a ticket. You come here and listen. And we don't even need to have another system put in here. You're going to know the instant you sit down. You've never freaking heard anything close to this, not even remotely close. But he was still set, that you just wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Once it sounds good at 10 grand or something like that, it's just, it's the same thing. You can't tell. It's just louder or whatever. But what I suggest, I don't implore you because it's not that heavy, but if there is an audio show that comes to your town, like Deborah Lee said when she came on, they go listen to these audio systems, and you'll notice a couple things. First of all, you'll understand what a wicked audio system sounds like, an expensive audio system, how they sound. And then next of all, you'll realize how some really expensive systems totally don't fulfill In fact, I would say I don't think I've ever heard $1 million system ever that I thought sounded like $1 million. None, never once. I have heard $200,000 systems that sound every bit of 200,000, but I think that's probably 200, 250 is probably where it tops out. I don't think anything gets any better after that. And again, they're variables, right? It depends on the setup and blah 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 blah. Sometimes people just really don't know how to set up. Um, but I mean, even less. Like I think I did. What did I do at Capital Audio Fest? Do you guys remember? Was it a $20,000 rig or a $25,000 rig? That I can see. That's a pretty good camera. I'm getting all the schmutz on my thing. Um, I put together a $20,000 rig that people were like, dude, this is the best sound in the show. Of course, they're not saying it was the most bombastic, amazing system in the show. They were just telling me this room in this system right now is more dialed in than the others. Like you've got shit sorted in here. Whereas you'll realize that you go into a lot of different rooms and people are simply making excuse after excuse about what's wrong with the room. Oh, they gave me a room with an air conditioner. Oh, the streamer isn't working right. Or oh, the speakers aren't broken in, or are all this stuff, all these excuses for why it doesn't sound good or why it sounds the way it does. And it's just kind of comical. It'll happen uh every single show. Every single show. Um, E. Williams asked, "Can I now sell the guy a DAC?" I am. Yeah, I mean, I already did. This was he got Fisher and Fisher 770s. He got Jeff Rowland 555, and then he got an audio analog AA DAC temporarily until he was waiting on an MPD 8. And then this was for a second rig that he's going to do in his dining room. And that's where he needed the integrated for. So I'm going to help him see if I can help him either get a refund or get or sell what he has. And then, yes, then I'll be able to take care of him. Let them eat cake. I love cake, man. I had some cake today. It was banana cake. It was banana bread. Yeah, it was pretty kick-ass. My woman makes like all organic like things with, if she even uses sugar, it's like raw cane sugar. Anytime you're buying something that costs as much as a car, typically you can't just return it. See, that's the opposite, bro. So it's actually amazing that you do that. See, so I mean, the audio industry has done a brilliant job of making people feel that if the ship breaks, they have to pay for it or that they have to send it back. B, that returns don't happen. C, that there's something called a restock fee. I don't do any of that stuff. There is no restock fee. You buy a $26,000 DAC and you say I don't like it. I'm giving you 26 grand back. Okay. My job is to be at service for you. And to make sure that you're happy, to make sure that you're not just, yeah, this is good, but like you're shitting yourself. You're like, I can't believe, Mikey, that it sounds like it does. I had no idea shit could sound like this in my room. When that's how I have to leave my people. So the way my mind thinks is, if you're buying something that costs as much as a car, your ass better have a safety net, because that's a lot of bread. So they better give you a bona fide return policy. So the fact that you say typically you can't just return it, that is one of the biggest hustles that's been perpetrated on the buying public, is the thought that you typically can't just return it. Bullshit. You typically should be able to return it every freaking time it gets that expensive, you know? So yeah, I think it's amazing and it makes my job easier. All I have to do is be the one guy that does it, and I've got a leg up on everyone. It's that fucking easy, you know? That dream genie coming out of an old phonograph. Oh, yeah, yeah, dude. Good eye. That's Bowie right there. That is. I can't zoom, I don't think, with this, but that is it. It's an old Victrola or whatever phonograph, and Bowie with a high heel. It looks like a platform shoe ghost coming out of there. That's total dream genie, dude. Good eye. Hello from Puyallup. Nice V-Rod ride today. Did you? Sweet, dude. I was out I put an Olin's steering damper on my Ducati. That was a bitch, dude. Don't you hate it when you get the kits and they're like simple installation? And then first of all, it's Italian instructions, which, you know, they aren't consistent. So you'll get like the video versus the printed instruction. And of course, it doesn't tell you what to do in steps. It just shows you all the little lines where everything goes. And it's different. You're like, dude, that drawing is different than the video. The video shows the two screws going in there. The drawing shows one going this way and one going that way. It's like, it's frustrating. And you have to get up into spots where you can barely get your freaking fingers to put a nut on something. And I had to like tape the washer onto the plate and then get it up in there and then put the nut like into my box end, and then put my finger on the back and just get it on there and just be able to twirl, 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 just get it a little bit and then get the wrench under there. No way I'm getting a socket up in there, you know. But you just have to be patient and then it comes, you figure out how to do it. And so now it's on. Now I don't have to worry because my bike is a multi-strata, so it sits upright like a dirt bike. I have bar risers, my arms are out, because it's a sport touring. I mean, you can flog it in the turns. It's an Italian sport bike, but it sits upright. So when you get up to like around 110, it just gets a little, to me, a little light in the front end. I don't like it like that. I want to be able to do a $130 and feel solid. And so I put a steering damper on there and that ought to take care of it. But the V-Rod was my very first Harley. 2003, I think it was, because it was the 100th anniversary. Sundowner seat, I still remember. Screaming Eagle exhaust. It had some cool shit. And I saw it at the BMW dealer. I was in the BMW dealer, that V-Rod over there. And I'm like, how much? And they quoted me, they're like $8,000. They wanted to get it off the floor. They were like $8,000. It had like 3,000 miles on it. I'm like, I look on my phone while I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy shit, that's wholesale price. Like, these guys really want to get rid of this thing, get it off their floor. So I said, let me take it for a ride. I took it for a ride. I brought my woman, and I was used to riding sport bikes at the time. Sport touring is really my genre. And I got on that thing and I'm taking turns, and like, her on back didn't even phase the bike at all. Whereas with the Ducatis I had before, your rider and how they lean on the turns, their weight that, can, unless they really know how to ride on the back, it can mess you up. It can change the line of your turn, of your lean. Not what didn't happen with the V-Rod. I got pulled over when I was test driving for ripping. Cop pulled me over, speeding. And I'm like, dude, sorry, man. I'm taking for test drive. I just had to kind of see what it had a little bit. He was like, all right, man, it's all good. He saw the plate, and he let me go. I didn't get a ticket. But then we went back. I said, I'll buy it. From that point on, Harley was the thing that I used for riding with my gal on the back. I remember Porsches were like 60K, used 20K all day. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I remember used 911s in the 30 range. I totally remember before, and that was before I could really afford them. 36, nice like 911s that you could get for mid 30s. Yeah. So it's a different world, man. It's a different world. Genie. Yeah, exactly. No, but Dream Genie is even better because it's a ghost coming out. Like, see the ghost? Like, so Dream Genie was perfect. Hey, Andrew, what's up, buddy? I put an Olin steering damper on today. It was a fucking pain in the ass. An F450 Platinum is 129. Yeah, look at that. These things, pickup trucks were farm equipment, man. Back in the day, they were cheaper than cars because they were just a freaking cab and a frame and a box on back, and they weren't as expensive as cars. They were always cheaper because it was farm equipment. Now a freaking pickup truck, but 450. Holy shit. That's a big dog, dude. 450. What is that? That's like a 1 ton or something like that. Well, let's see, 3/4. Yee, it's a big boy. Considering you can haul with that, that's the most reasonably priced vehicles. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. A 450. That is so big. That's like horse trailer. That's equipment. That's equipment level. That's towing equipment, horse trailer equipment, towing like business, like your whole lawn, even more than you need to haul lawn shit. But you could haul a race car behind that, like a big ass yacht. So it's right. It is pretty reasonable. 3 cars, insurance poor. Oh, yeah. Well, depends on what kind of cars. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Chuck. There you are, man. Teddy boy from Greenville. Good to see you, man. How are you? Charles has some interesting stories. The prices are unacceptable even from an engineering point of view. Yeah, exactly. But the problem is somebody's accepting it, right? Or it wouldn't exist. And other people wouldn't be jumping on the bandwagon. Like, I mean, I just heard Lampesator's doing $100,000 DAC. If Lampesator is doing $100,000 DAC, that tells me the state of affairs. That's all I need to hear. Lampesator's going with $100,000 DAC. Okay, I know exactly what's happening. The industry is being eviscerated in the middle. The people that think they can are doing a death grasp. They smell the end of it, and they're going for the high billionaire, high net worth individuals, and they're racing each other to the top, and then it's going to fizzle out. Everybody's coming for a big freaking facial. It's like the facial money shot is everybody's preparing for it. Because they're going to get hosed eventually. They're going to get hosed. Their buyers are going to be gone. That's what they're trying to get, the last of the baby boomers before their buyers are gone. When the boomers are gone, these guys are cooked. That's all there is to it. 1 or 2 sales. It's not going to be, and not in the United States. I don't think it'll be overseas. Maybe some of the Asians, Chinese will buy or something like that. The really Dubai people, stuff like that. But other than that, man, you're cooked. So they're doing the death grip. It's the death rattle, Greed has destroyed many civilizations throughout history. Mikey, love your reasonable methodologies. Yeah, man. I am the anti-establishment, That's why the black sheep doesn't mean like bad in some way. It just means that I don't follow the herd, you know. And I contacted a guy today. I'm starting to contact other music production and music involved people that are about saving the music from AI and different shit like that. I'm putting together a posse of people in the industry, and I'll be the representative of the end where the playback happens in the home, and these guys are be on the production end, and they'll be part of what we're doing. Again, you guys don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I have 2 meetings every week. I have 2 meetings, and we're going to do something that has nothing to do with the hi-fi industry, and it'll be so much greater than 10K and 100K systems. Yep, big difference. 100K and 500K, not so much. Diminishing returns. Absolutely. You could not be more correct. The difference between, but I've got people that'll sit there and tell me 10K, you can't tell the difference between 10K and 100K, and I'm like, oh, you haven't heard it yet, brother. I appreciate that you really love your little systems, and it doesn't mean little systems can't sound great. I can make a system for 20 grand sound freaking exotic, killer, totally high level, natural, for 20K. But my 100K system is like over 100K. It's 200, right? So 10x is so much larger in scale and so much more heavy duty and so much more overwhelming, that it's so obvious the difference, you know. Big expensive systems are hard to make sing. Um, they are. It's tricky. It's a trick. Um, and what is unfortunate is like the many of the most popular brands that are in that big sector, the stuff doesn't go well together, and they keep putting them together because they're the main big names. But you're like, those brands, when you put those together, I get that you guys are all on the same like level, right? Of like popularity and stuff like that, and production ability and stuff, and R&D ability and all that. They're all kind of on that same high level. But when you put those exact brands together, you're like, those are not the brands that go together, man. It makes it hyper analytical. It just doesn't sound that great. It just I mean, is it even different, like you said, than the 100K systems? Many times not. And they are hard to make sing. What's hard to make them do is to sound natural. That is the hardest thing to do, to make something that has total resolution and edge and definition, but is not fatiguing or harsh or aggressive. To be able to do both, it's a trick. That's how I specialize in that. You can't get a good pair of floor standers new for under 16 grand. You're right. And I've said that many times. 20,000 is the new entry level. When what is it? What is their name again? Perlison came out, Chinese speakers made in China, 25 grand or something like that. And that's what they were showing at the show. I'm like, man, when the Chinese speakers are 25 grand, that means 20K is the entry level to speakers nowadays. You can't do anything really. I mean, unless, dude, for Fisher and Fisher, come to Capital Audio Quest, Audio Fest. Capital Audio Quest. Capital Audio Fest. Come to Capital Audio Fest and hear the 370s that I'll have there. Those are 17 grand. And listen to how, and go compare them to other speakers. You can do it right there. You're going to have a bunch of rooms, and then listen to the difference. Listen to what I sell at 16 and somebody else sells. Compare them to $30,000 speakers, and then come back down and tell me what you found that could beat the Fishers and how much it cost. The people that do the least actual firsthand testing have the strongest wrong opinions. Yes, yep, they should stay out of the opinion business. Hello, Charles, also from Greenville. Look at that, man. Eric's in Greenville as well, man. You guys ought to get together. Charles is got Eric, you can go hear a Mikey system. Charles has a 100% Mikey system. So all you got to do is contact me tomorrow, and I'll ask Ted, is what he goes by. And if he's cool with you coming by, then he can host, Eric, and you can go hear what all this shit that I've been talking about, man. I chuckle at people who still listen to vinyl. No, I don't. I praise people that still listen to vinyl. I don't recommend my customers that are new audiophiles even start it. That's the thing. That's the distinction. But let's see what you're going to say. Yet on your video, you say the MPD8 is the only DAC that beats vinyl. No, doesn't that say that vinyl is pretty good? It's my way of, vinyl has always been for audiophiles the sort of pinnacle, a really wicked turntable, right? $100,000 turntable and all this vinyl. People always think that vinyl is the best thing, right? And so in order for me to crack the smelling salt under their nose, I say MPD8 will be as good as your vinyl rig. What I'm doing is I'm giving them a money back guarantee. If the MPD8 doesn't match or surpass your vinyl rig, you may send it back. I will give you all your money back with zero restock fee. Okay? So that's why I say it that way is to so that guys with vinyl that think vinyl is the last like frontier, so they buy the MPD8, which they do. And then they're like, "Holy shit, Mikey, what did you do to me? Why did you do this?" You know? But they're actually relieved because they can get so much more music listening done. And they're like, "Mikey, my God, since I've been streaming and using the MPD8, I have found 10 times more music than I would have other, crate digging and bringing shit home." So you must realize I bring people into hi-fi. The other dealers, a lot of other dealers, they only sell to audiophiles. They have these people that are already steeped audiophiles. I bring people in that are not audiophiles, they're music lovers, and they just had no idea about high-end audio systems. And vinyl guys are usually totally music people. So the vinyl guys are typically the ones who appreciate MPD8 more than the rest because they're like, "Oh my God, dude. I can't believe it." I mean, if Brent is watching, he got his MPD8 AI today. So he's plugging his vinyl in. His phono pre is plugging into the DAC. So now he's going to get rid of his preamp, and his phono is going to feed right into the DAC. So he's going to be able to have his phono playing, the record turning, and he can switch inputs from streaming to vinyl, from vinyl to streaming with a press of an input, real time vinyl versus MPD8. Hopefully he'll make a video. He does like to make videos. So he'll be able to make a video for us because I'm not a vinyl guy, right? I can't make that video, but Brent can make that video, and then I'll tell you guys about it. And then you can listen and hear for yourself. And he is a steeped in and dyed in the wool audio vinyl guy. And he's telling me when I talk to him, "Dude, I think he's like, I'm having thoughts of getting rid of my albums. I can't believe I'm actually considering it." He's like, but the difference is so minuscule. He's like, and it's only on certain pressings. Only on certain pressings is the vinyl rip was what he does. Is the vinyl rip just a little bit better than streaming? I can tell, and it's over here, and he knows exactly where it happens. He's got a tremendous ear, and I'm really glad that he wants to be so much part of the tribe in terms of demoing and stuff like that, because he really understands music and sonic and harmonics and naturalism and realism. So yes, vinyl is by many, the what do you say, the reference, right? It's always been the reference. So I default to the industry reference, which is vinyl. I don't think it's necessary. I think tape, which is behind me, beats the living shit out of vinyl. Reel-to-reel tape crushes vinyl in every fucking way. For sure. Tape beats it. So I don't have vinyl. I've got tapes in case you didn't see. We can't. Well, I got my light right there, but look at that. All the way down to the ground, all the way up to the ceiling. We've got all these. Those are 2-inch session reels. I could remaster stuff if I wanted. These are all 1/4 inch. These are the actual 2-channel mixdowns from the late 70s, early 80s. I don't have tape copies. I have the original master tapes. That's what you see behind me. These are session reels. Okay, so when it says Joni Mitchell on the outside, that means this tape and Joni Mitchell were in the room at the same exact time in 1978. And then this tape came off the machine, and now Mikey has it. Okay. So this is the reference, is the actual recording, the actual tape. That's the reference. So, and you know what? I have a kick-ass tape machine, a kick-ass Studer. I sent my head block in. I had Flux Magnetics head put onto it. I had a switch put so I can go on the onboard Studer electronics, or I can go outboard to like a $20,000 tape head pre if I want to. I go bonkers with my tape. I redid all the electronics inside the Studer. I mean, this is like a shit. I mean, tape machines are obnoxious nowadays. I could probably sell it for 25 grand. And I would. If somebody wants my Studer, let me know, because I'm not going to do it, man. I'm not going to, I'll do the project of converting these into DSD, and then I'll play them back on my DAC. But I'm not going to go forward with tape, dude. I just have to be real about it. About a Studer, I've got an Atari MX5050 Mark III with like 0 hours on it. Fucking pristine, like new old stock level. And I don't even use my tapes, and my tapes crush vinyl. I may do a little session before I get the new before I sell my machines. I may just do some episodes to play tape, because nobody else has master tapes like I do. I mean, they've got copies of masters, but these are studio outtakes and practice sessions, and these are unreleased. Everything I have is unreleased. I might have, I don't even know if I have any album masters from albums that were released. This is all unreleased stuff, which makes it totally more valuable than the album master, which everybody fucking has, right? I've got stuff that nobody has. Anyways, and I don't even listen to it, and it kicks the shit out of vinyl, and I don't even listen to it because my digital is that good. So, someday, I mean, I already sell more than Andreas can make. I am the top playback designs, MPD8, all their stuff. I sell more than anybody in the world. And I've got the gold records. They give me a gold record every year, top sales, so I'm going platinum. I need a platinum one this time. I think I better ask for a platinum. I've gone past gold. Now it's time to give me a platinum album. So yeah, vinyl can be really good. And just so that I don't ever make fun of vinyl, and I don't hate it at all. In fact, I think vinyl guys are some of the coolest. And it's like what I said, is because they really know music. Vinyl guys typically know music better than most people, because they have to choose their music very carefully, buy it, take it home, take it out of its thing, lay it down, and then spend the time with it. So they're into the experience. So vinyl dudes, and I worked at a record store for many years. So I love records, I think they're cool as a media form. I just think that it is an archaic thing, and I couldn't, in my right mind, I couldn't suggest it to a new budding audiophile as something that's a good idea, when I know how touchy those turntables are, and I know how delicate a stylus is, and I know how easy it is to break that thing off, or have it retipped, or have to degrit your records, or have to destat them, or get your tracking angle right, or all this other crap, dude. It's so much time intensive shit associated with vinyl that, to me, I couldn't feel right about putting somebody into that as a fresh audiophile. I'm giving them labor and pain and suffering. I'm making their life more, I'm eating up their bandwidth by doing that. It's unfair in my mind to do that to them, when I think there's a better solution, which is streaming and an MPD8. I think that is the ultimate solution. I don't think there's anything better. For people that want to just keep flipping shit and trying different shit because they like to masturbate with audio gear, then fine, change it out every time, and get your jollies, for doing that. But that's a neuroses. Okay. I'm talking about people that really the main thing they want to connect to the music, and that's it. And vinyl guys are usually like that. So I like vinyl people. When I chuckle, I'm chuckling at how archaic the whole apparatus and the whole ritual is. Um, if people like it, all the power to them, but I'm just never going to suggest it for my new customers. People that don't have one record, and I'm going to tell them they need to go out and start collecting this modern, cheap ass, thin, shitty vinyl that sounds nothing like old original pressings. And they're what, 30, 50, $100 each. And you got to buy thousands of them. I'm not going to, I could go on and start talking about cartridges and how expensive cartridges are and phono-pre and tubes for phono-pre's and cables and proper wiring for the cartridge wire, and all that stuff. And it is such a huge rabbit hole. So I just don't suggest it to people, but I greatly respect it. Just like I respect old choppers. I respect a 1938 Harley Panhead. I'm like, wow, that's badass. It's kickstart with a fucking big pedal that's going to break the back of your leg. If you don't kick that right, it is going to bruise your leg for a long time. You're never going to forget that. And then you have to reach down and shift with a suicide shifter down by your leg. And then you don't even have a front brake on it. You've only got a rear brake with your foot, and you've got one clutch up there. So you can't stop on a hill. Okay. There's no freaking way I'm recommending a Panhead, an old ass Panhead chopper. They're cool. I respect them. Total mad respect. So hopefully you can understand how I feel. I'm the same way about old cars, they smell like gas, and all that stuff. Some people, to them, that's really living. Smells like gas and oil, and you have to be real careful. Can't drive it too long in traffic or it's going to overheat, because I've got an old Ferrari with 6 carbs lined up on a V12 engine or whatever, and it's not made for traffic. It's made to be on an open road. So it's just, I have to make decisions for my clients, and I have to cut through the BS and give them a plug and play solution that does not cause them headaches. I need something that works, that doesn't break, that doesn't have liability attached to it or a bunch of back end on it. Vinyl has a huge back end on it. Digital does not. It's plug and play. That's it. You don't even have to buy the music. You just stream it if you want, right? You can buy it if you want to, but it's I know that I'm going to put those systems into people's houses, and they're going to be set, and we can check it off the list, and they're not going to have heartache. But if I put them with there's certain things that I just won't put people with, because I know, because I've been through it, there's going to be some back end on that shit. There's going to be potential repairs. There's going to be, and it's just, I can't knowingly put people into that. So the vinyl thing is great for some, but I'm not putting my customers into it, man. I've got a better solution for them that'll give them less. They can spend money on other stuff. Good evening from Toronto. Hi, Carmine. I've gone to audio shows, and what I hear mostly is the room and the setup, for sure. It's almost impossible to properly audition any single component. It is absolutely impossible to properly audition any single component. What Carmine means is when you go into an audio rig and you go, oh my God, those speakers sound so good, and you go into the room, you don't know. The only thing you can say without question is, this room sounds really good with the system, the way the guy set it up. That is truth. Anything else is fucking imagination. You can't go in and go, oh my God, you could go in and go, geez, check out what these speakers are capable of. Okay. This sounds amazing. So I know those speakers are capable to do this kind of sound. Okay. You can definitely say that. And on the flip side, if something sounds horrible, you can say, well, it may be poorly matched. I can't really blame it on the speakers right now. Something sounds like shit in here. So all you can say definitely is, this guy in this room with these combination of components, it doesn't sound good right now. So luck of the draw, and then you have to say, if it's the first time you've heard it from that guy and those components, it's luck of the draw. You can't make any conclusions. But if every single time you go to the show and the same guy with the same components, it always sucks, then you can say that guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing, or he just doesn't understand how to make good sound, or you can come, because it's consistently bad. Or if it's consistently good. Jeff Joseph, great example. I'm another good example, but I won't use myself. I'll say Jeff Joseph. His room always sounds great, man, no matter what. Go to Jeff Joseph's room. Go to Jeff Rowland, doesn't go to the shows anymore, but different people get a hold of his stuff. But Jeff Joseph, you go to his room, man, it's always going to sound good. Avant-Garde, Angie, okay? Angie with Avant-Garde always sounds good. No matter what, it's going to sound great. Who else? You can just, after a while, you just begin to know who are the ones that are consistent and who are not. And you're absolutely right. You can't blame it on any one component. What you can do, though, is you can come in and you can hear my AGDs in Capital Audio Fest with Alberto's AGDs with my Fisher and Fishers, and you'll be able to say, here's what these 370s are capable of. Okay, I can hear what's happening right now in this room, and so I know these speakers, if they're capable enough to do it in this shit-ass room, then they're going to be even better in my listening space where I've actually treated the room, right? You're in a crappy ass hotel room, which puts us all at a disadvantage. But the people that are good at what they do can make a hotel room sound freaking amazing, right? So that's how you know who knows what they're doing. It's not the luck of the draw. We know what we're doing to make the room sound good. People they can't, it's either they don't know what they're doing or it's the gear. But Carmine's right. You can't tell. You don't know until you see them a couple times. 20.7s came to life with new. Of course. Next stop, Coda. Yeah, man. I know Doug well. Absolutely no way a 10K system replaces your system with those 1,000s. I know. That's why I said it was such an outlandish thought that he had that I'm like, dude, this is worth whatever $400 ticket. I don't give a shit. I'll buy you a ticket, dude, just so you can come down and listen and I can send you back. I know you're not going to buy shit because I know his he doesn't have the budget for it and he doesn't, but I want him to see, man, he needs to come down and listen. I'm like, come and listen. And then, report back, tell everybody, because this guy just wants to find a hole in everything that I do. Like he's trying to just, he's very, what's the word? What's the word? It starts with an S. Very, critical. Okay. Critical. It doesn't starts with the C, not an S. Sounds like C. YouTubers sell that rubbish. You can't tell the difference between a good system and a cheap system because it brings them lots of clicks. It's not true, but people want to believe it. Yes, there's a good point. It's fantasy, right? It's like porno, selling you that you're going to get some 20-year-old hottie that's going to sit on your, what, right? So, YouTubers understand the same thing. Sell fantasy. Why not? Sell fantasy, sell people on the idea that their $8,000 rig or that their topping DAC is going to sound as good as an MPD-8. It's ridiculous. But like you said, people will click because that's what they want to believe. It's herd mentality. It's total marketing. And Carl agrees. Whoa. That's amazing, dude. Carl's agreeing with you. Fired up. Let's all do a shot. Service is a lost art. It is, brother. But it's in my nature. I can't do it because I treat people are my friends. My clients become my buddies. I take care of them like I would a friend, and there's only one way to do service, and that's the right way. And so it makes it easy, dude. All I have to do is what I normally do, and I'm already got a leg up on the competition. All I have to do is offer returns. It's like already I'm beating 50% of the dealers out there. And then no restock fee. Now I'm beating 70% of dealers out there, And then if it arrives and there's a warranty claim and then you don't have to pay for shipping, I pay return shipping. There's now I'm past 80% of the dealers out there. 100K is a sweet spot. Everything under that is trash. Boom, he's dropping a bomb. Yeah, I mean, 100K is a really sweet spot. I mean, you can really get a world-class rig. The only time you want, and that's a really good point, John, because I could have a 100K rig in my room that would be absolutely kick-ass. However, because I do what I do for a living, you know, my system needs to be complete overkill. So I would have been fine at 100. I'm at 200 because complete overkill. I'm 11 stereo. Okay. So how can I not have a system that goes to 11? I have to have a system that has something on tap for the few that really need it or want it. I can take it to a place where they've never, even for the guys that are tough nuts to crack, right? I can take it to 11 and then I can take it to 11. I can take it to 11 with a 100 grand system too, but yeah, I mean, it is a really sweet spot. I mean, 75 to 100K, you can get a really, really great, but 100, you're good. John can do it with 50K. I can do it with 50K. Oh, he's saying, John, yeah, you can do it with 50K. Sure, you can do it with 20K. You know, you can do it with 20K. It all depends on what you want to do and how big your room is. You can do it with 20K with a smaller room. You get into a room that's a big room with tall ceilings, you're going to need bigger speakers. That's all there is to it. You're not going to fill a big room with speakers that fit in a rig that's the whole rig is how much you should spend on speakers. 50K you should spend on speakers with the big room. So, but yeah, you can do it for 20. Auto sales are in quite the state at the moment, aren't they? Things are getting pretty dire for some brands, and I expect to see a few go under if things continue much longer like this. I know I've heard Porsche's has alienated a bunch of their like they might be having issues, which is wild to think of Porsche having issues. But you know, they've just gone after this sector where people have just people are going to turn on the brand. They're just going to be like, fuck you, Porsche, and your fucking elitist bastard company, you know? And I had a client who had a GT3 RS on order. And when the GT3 RS came in, he waited 8 months and he had ordered it and everything. And when it came in, the dealer tacked $80,000 on to what the original price was. And he was like, dude, no, we agreed on this price. They're like, no, that's our thing. They're a very high demand and we can get that kind of money. So this guy went and bought an Aston Martin. He said, fuck Porsche, flipped him off, said, I hate that brand. Now, like, I don't like the company. The cars are great, but I can't stand the company. So I'll never buy a Porsche. And he bought an Aston Martin because of the way the dealers acted, you know? Hey now, I got a hey now, teacher Chris. What's up, brother? We went to Goose the other night, man. Oh my God. Have you guys seen Goose? I got to show you something. Let's see. I wonder if I play a video on here, if they're going to like defund my thing or whatever. I'm going to play something because I took some videos from the show. The guy's insane guitarist, man. I mean, it's a certain type of guitaring. I don't know. It's going to sound like shit probably. Oh, wait. You know what I can do? I forgot. I can go like this. I can go like this. Let me go like this. Okay, like this. And then I can go to this. And I can go like this. Okay. And then I can, since he said, hey now. Okay, so now I can go to here. And now I can, let me make sure it's not too loud. what you call fever pitch. We totally didn't take shrooms. It was, yeah, man. It was like it was it was awesome, dude. Fever pitch. That band goes crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts. And it was such a blast, man. Fever pitch. That's what I call that shit, fever pitch. And you know, I can only relate it to the dead. You know, he says, "Hey now." Hey now is a call when Teacher Chris says to me, "Hey now," that means he's a deadhead. Okay, that's just for those of you that don't know, because you know it comes from a Neville Brothers tune, Pocky Way. Hey now, hey now, hey now. Oh, Ico, right? Pocky and Ico have the same beat, so I get them mixed up. It's from a dead tune, Ico, and and it may even come from some Ico probably comes from like the Caribbean or some shit like that. But anyways, so when he says, "Hey now," I know he's a deadhead. He's giving me the beacon. And where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I can only compare Goose to the Dead, and the Dead would get to fever pitch when they were playing, and when the Dead got to fever pitch, it was bonkers. It was like you just can't even believe what's going on. It's like so intense that it's just like, you know, I mean, it's just your mind is completely exploding, you know, of how they're just digging into such an area of jam that you're like, wow, what, you know, like, and so some of these bands can get, but the Dead's fever pitch was a different level. This fever pitch, these guys are young guys. They can continue fever pitch level for great amounts of time. I mean, shit, we went to see Disco Biscuits the other night, and they were fever pitch the whole damn show, which makes fever pitch less special. You got to do fever pitch in doses so that it's more special. But nonetheless, we were mind blown. We had such a good time. We were laughing and having a great time. It was awesome. Big J Truck. Yes. Price is supply and demand. Value is an illusion constrained by reality. Yeah, buddy. Let's have a cigar and discuss that one. But it's totally true. Digital is hi-fi fast food. Whatever you want to call it, you know, I don't agree, because fast food is unhealthy and fast food is gross. Digital is hi-fi fast food from a convenience standpoint. Absolutely. For sure. There's nothing more convenient than digital. You can just flip with your finger on a damn tablet and get a bunch of music you didn't even know existed. You can scour the record store and try every album in every bin with a flick of a finger, just like that. Don't even stand up. So in that way, it is absolutely fast food. But if we're talking about like nutrition, no, it's not. It's you know, it's fine sushi. But it is way more convenient and quick, you know, if you want to. Mikey, the Italian Stallion, saying hello. We're both the best. Fabiano, of course. We are both the best. Rock on, man. Digital is hi-fi fast food at its best. There you go. Okay, so hi-fi. Maybe we say what high-end fast food like Michelin, Michelin McDonald's. It's Michelin McDonald's. I can vouch for Mikey not chuckling at people who listen to vinyl. I'm one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Nick is one of the vinyl lovers. Nick is he knows everything about music, man. I mean, and guitars. But like, I mean, Nick, I mean, that's what's great about vinyl guys is they know the names of the artist. They know what album they played on, when they came into the band, who started the band, like all the stuff. You can ask the vinyl files because they're music people, you know. And Nick is absolutely one of them. Mikey, I will call you, Eric. We can meet up and then you can come over and hear my system sometime. Thanks again, Mikey, for guidance with everything I needed from the power cords to the speakers. Yeah, buddy. Absolutely. Charles came through, listened to my system and said, I'll take it. And luckily at the time, I could sell it. Right now, what I do, I have 2 pairs of those 1000.1s. I've got one in my room and I've got one in crates ready to ship. So that way, when someone says, I want 1000.1s, they don't have to take mine. They can take the ones that are the new ones in the crates. So the ones that I have won't get sold. But when Charles came by, he said, I'll take it. And I was like, okay, let's pack it up. So we packed it up. We put it in his car. He bought a complete system just like that after sitting down and listening. That's all it took. He was convinced. And staying under my 45K budget. Yes. Yes, that was a trick, man. I worked a sweet deal for you, bro. I worked a sweet deal for you. The speakers are now, I think probably roughly 20 points more with the import duty tax, 15 freaking percent, dude. So I used to pay 1% import duty. Now I pay 15 times what I used to pay. So $100,000 of speakers coming in used to be $1,500, or I'm sorry, $1,000 tariffs. Now it's 15 grand tariffs. So it's like I hope they get it straightened out because it sucks. My dream system. I love connecting to my music. I know you do, buddy. I know you do. You're one of the anointed. Okay. And we all know what we mean. We all know what that means. Is Playback going to be bringing out any more amplifiers? Yes, they will. It's just going to be a little while, but Playback will be bringing out an amplifier. And I'm getting the first 5 off the line. So if you guys, when the time comes, I think they're going to be, I'm not even going to speculate on price because things change. But I saw the video of you in that guy's house with the TAD reference ones. You sold him. Yeah, he was just on here. Dave. He was just Dave Olson, who said the thing about the Ford F450 being 129. That's the guy. That's an impressive sale for sure. Your success backs up everything you say. Yeah, and that's that's one of many. And right on down to people that have bought the $5,000 Fisher and Fisher SN70s and a new OnTech $2,500 DAC. I mean, and they're like, I've got guys that still call me about their new OnTech. Like, dude, I love my new OnTech, man. I haven't even taken it out. It's just so awesome. Every day I listen to it. I'm like, awesome, man. It's cool. Eric Charles, thank you. I'll reach out to Mike. I'm up in North Main area. Cool, man. Look at that. We got a little tribe get together going. The analog rig I want is over 30 grand. That's reasonable. Sell one of your watches. So 26 grand for a DAC is pretty similar. Yes. No, I can't afford that right now, analog or digital. I'm crying in my Ben and Jerry's. You're crying. You're eating bonbons and weeping into your Ben and Jerry's. I've been there. That's so funny. That's such a funny euphemism or whatever. Being sorrow. What was, man, there's a couple funny movies out there where they're like doing that. And people, why do we eat sugar, when we're sad? Because somehow it spikes dopamine or some shit like that. But yeah, sell one of the watches. Let's see. Let me guess what you have that you could sell that would get you an audio system. Okay. The watch that you bought when you got your first big engineer job, okay? You can sell the Rolex, the gold Rolex Oyster Perpetual that you've had for so long that doesn't really serve you anymore. You could sell your collectible gold coins that have Star Trek on them, Yoda. I don't know. Collectibles. You've got collectibles. I know you've got some sort of collectibles. I don't know what they are. It could be it's maybe it's sci-fi memorabilia, or it's or it's movie memorabilia, movie set stuff or something like that. You've got some sort of collectibles that you could sell. There's something in there. If we talked, I could figure it out. Tell me if I even got close. OCD Mike, chat, what's up, Will? Good to see you. Here he is, man. Seattle check-in. Dude, did you get your phono plugged into the MPD-8? Let us know, man. Skeptical. That's the word I was looking for. I knew it had an S. Skeptical. Yes. I was going to say critical and skeptical. He's a critical skeptic. He's a skeptical critic, for sure. But I welcome all types, and as long as you're doing it respectfully and he had it out, man. He just like unleashed, and I was like, okay. And then I just spoke with him, and we went back and forth. And then people typically that don't understand me might get upset, but once they get to know me, there aren't people that don't like me, and I'm not trying to do that to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at getting along with everybody. And once people realize what my intentions are, they're like, okay, he's cool. He may be a little abrasive on his channel, but he's a good guy. He's just they're like, you're biased. And I'm like, of course I'm biased. You think I'm trying to tell you I'm not? I only talk about the gear that I have because I think it's the best gear that I've found. So why would I talk about other stuff? Why would I even have other stuff, and through here and then tell you guys about it? It's not even, I'll tell you about the shit that's good, the shit that's worth talking about. So yes, I am biased, man. And that's what you guys count on, my bias to purchase from me. That's what, that's my edge, is my bias. Hey Rev, look, Nikki knows guitars. These guys are two guitar heads, by the way. If anybody into electric guitars, and I got another guy who doesn't come to my channel when I'm doing live streams, but Jamie from Jamie's Guitar, he buys and sells. He's got crazy cool old Gibsons and all sorts of cool shit. I go to his house and I'm like, there's rooms full of guitars just like all around the room, dude. I'm like, dude, wow. And they're cool ones too. Firebirds and like MLs and like, weird shit that you just, and cool, like, what are those early Les Pauls that have like one pickup in the center and like, they're just like all this cool shit, hollow bodies and all sorts of cool stuff. And look, Nick, I'm going to show Nick something over there. Well, can we, oh man, this thing's too short. Can I come over here? Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to show Nick. Can you guys see what's over there? That's from Nick right there. See that Marshall sitting over there? That's a Marshall Master Volume from the 70s. That's period correct, baby. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah, so that's from Nicky. I bought that thing. Nick had it because he's got all sorts of cool shit. And if you guys, anybody has a Les Paul, I want a Les Paul to go with that, but not a really, not a fucking retarded one that's 200 grand. But I'll trade hi-fi for a really cool 70s Les Paul. I want a Les Paul to go with that, and I need a cabinet. Jamie's got a cab that matches from the same era. And then I can have a Marshall stack with a Les Paul, maybe an SG. No, Les Paul. And I don't even play guitar, but that way when people that do play guitar come over, they can play it for me because I love the sound of it, man. Do you prefer tubes or solid state? I know you would rather move to solid state, but what do you really prefer? So in my system, I use vacuum tubes. I don't have a solid state solution um, in my current rig that sounds as good as the tubes do. I prefer solid state, but the solid states that I have don't sound as good. I've got some kick-ass solid state, but these vacuum tubes, they're out of this world level. I don't know if you've seen them, but the vacuum tubes are this big. They're 160 watts of Class A single-ended triode. There's no amplifier like this in the world. There's only one that makes that it's the most powerful single-ended triode in existence. 160 watts of Class A from an SET tube, one tube doing 160 watts. That's absolutely retarded ridiculous. So they drive my speakers like crazy and they sound so good and so natural and so real. Okay. And this is the topic of many discussions is what do tubes do that make them so ethereal, and make them so floaty and like and it's noise, it's got to be noise. It's something that happens. They don't measure well. Tubes don't measure well, but they sound absolutely phenomenal. So I use tubes even though I prefer solid state. So I use whatever sounds best, at whatever the best is that I can muster up. And so I could go for some big solid state monoblocks. Like I could go for Boulder, or I could go for Griffin, or I could go for D'Agostino. But the thing is, I'm not like everybody else. So I'm not going to put the same shit Jay has and all these other dealers are, I'm not going to do it. I just won't do it. Mikey has to be different. Again, I'm the black sheep, right? So I don't do the same shit everybody else does. I strive to find a different solution. Typically I find something that's better. Now I don't think I would like Boulder because Boulder to me doesn't sound musical. I think there's one Griffin that sounds musical, which would be Antilleon, and maybe that amp would work well. But then I just have a Griffin like everybody else. Then and I'm not going to use something that I don't sell. If I like Griffin the best, then I want to sell Griffin. And if Griffin isn't going to let me sell, then I'm not going to have Griffin. And the thing is, I'm not going to pick something to sell that a bunch of other people sell. And typically, if it's a dealers that I feel are not on my same vibration, then I like I've had brands that I like where I won't even sell the brand because of who's selling it already. And I'm like, I won't swim in the pool with that dealer network. I won't. So I've had to turn down brands that I actually like, which is unfortunate. So I hand choose my brands for perfect reason. But right now I'm using tubes, the best tubes that I know of. And I only carry one brand of tubes, Nat Audio from Serbia. Nat. Syncretism involves a more deeply integrated merging of beliefs rather than just selective adoption. Okay, we're getting deep, man. Mikey, plaid edition system, ludicrous speed. There you go, man. Just to clarify, I'm not skeptical, but I believe that is the word you're looking for. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Thanks. We all know what we all know. All we need is a Bose Acoustimass system. Do I get my walking papers now? No, man. If that's all you need and you can talk music with us, then and you want to smoke cigars and hang out and talk about watches and cars and whatever else, then fucking hang out, dude. I don't care. You don't have to walk. I don't care what you use for gear. I don't care what you love. You could be like, dude, I don't even have an audio system. And you can still be in the group. A lot of people are pissed about subscriptions in auto services sold at the dealerships as options. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the way just everything's going to end up going, I mean, why wouldn't they, But can you imagine that? I mean, I talked to a guy the other day, one of my clients just bought an Aprilia motorcycle. And he had to pay for cruise control on his damn RSVR, on his RSV4. He had to pay for cruise control to access the subscription. It's a subscription for cruise control. And then some performance upgrade, cruise control, like it's a package, performance pack or something like that. And there's a membership for it. I'm like, on motorcycles, dude, that's jacked up. I can't believe it even made it to motorcycles. And then other things like heated seats. You get the Mercedes, and now if you want the heated seats, that's $10 a month or something. It's ridiculous, man. It's the way the world is going. Like, you have to pay to unlock 100% of the horsepower. Totally. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with my Volvo. I got a Volvo XC90, top of the line, whatever it had, 340 or something like that. And then, or 310, 320, whatever. So I had to get the Polestar edition, and all they do is reflash the ECU. It came in a little box, so maybe they plug it in and flash. I don't know. They put something in, and it came in a little box. I get a little badge that says Polestar, and then now and I'm like, this is bullshit. It's just an ECU. So what they do is purposely hold back the horsepower and then give you and make you buy to get the full horsepower. I mean, it's like, dude, it's like, if you're not getting effed by somebody, you're not you're not alive. You're not alive. I'm late. Did you buy the car? I'm not talking about it, Vooch. I was rocking out. Cool, buddy. Goose is the best. I know, man. They're great, aren't they? It was a serious jam. He's very skeptical. Yes, that's the word. That was it. Live guitar and live trumpet hit different. They do. That's why live guitar and live trumpet. What else hits different is a snare. A snare makes you wince. It's like, whoa. If you're depending on how far away you are from it, a cymbal cuts right through the crowd, goes right to your ear. A kick drum hits you in the chest. It's a chest thump. You come into my rig, the kick drum's going to hit you in the chest. You're going to feel it in your chest cavity. It's the closest thing to live, but yeah, nothing can compare. Nothing can recreate live, but then again, live isn't all that great either, because you're stuck in some shit ass seat with some chicks in front of you that are drunk, talking the whole freaking time, people's heads in front of you, being in a crowd where you can't move, like every seat is taken, so you can't really boogie, just a bunch of shit. It's you don't want to leave to go get water because you're like, I'm gonna miss some killer part of it, or whatever. There's, live has got its ups and it's got its downs. And the older I get, the less I'm all about going to big concerts. Certain ones I will, but I avoided Fish. And Fish was just too much of a commitment. I'm like, man, I don't know that I got it in me, and I wasn't feeling well that night. And Judas Priest was the next night, and I'm like, I looked at some of Rob Halford's shit, and I'm like, dude, he looks like old Santa Claus with a trench coat on. I can't do it. Some of these guys are pushing themselves through tours when they should be retired, and they're just too old. They don't have the piss and vinegar anymore, and they're just going through the motions, and you can see it looks like Rob Halford's going through the motions. He's not like spitting fire like he used to. Or spitting something else. Joanne Shaw Taylor is playing in Atlanta, October 27. I don't know who it is. I guess it's good if you're telling me about it. Hey now, Howard Stern. Did Howard Stern used to say hey now? That's a dead thing. The dead was stream of consciousness fluency. Yeah, it is. And it yeah. I mean, I could go on about it, but it's I just remember it being like, this is no longer music. This is like data input into my soul. I'm plugged into the mainframe of like the ether of music, the soul of all music that's ever been done and ever created. The source, the music source for every music ever created is like, my heart is like plugged into the mainframe and my brain. And I'm being fed straight data from the mainframe. Like, it's not even music anymore. It's just straight, like, going into my veins, filling me with energy, It's like, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening, man? This is fucking intense. Like, oh my God. Did John in Portland, the guy in the symphony, change out his MLabs DAC for an MPDA yet? No, he hasn't. That was the one part where he was like, and he brought his M-Labs. He shipped it here, and then he flew here, and then we did a comparison side by side, and it was close enough for him that he decided to keep it and save the money. He was doing a huge build out. He was spending a lot of money on his room. He made a speakeasy in his basement, in the unfinished part of the basement. And he showed me the plans, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, that looks really expensive, you know? And so he wanted to cut, some expenses some ways. And it was close enough for him that he decided to just keep the M-Labs. Now, the guy who traded the M-Labs into me, I don't take trade-ins anymore, but at one point for Ivan, he traded me his M-Labs. Oh, the other thing too is that the M-Labs is an all-in-one. I think it had a CD on, or a CD tray too. Anyways, the guy who I sold it to, that I took the trade, he was like, "Oh my God, MPD8's totally better." And before he traded it, he kept it, and he was like, "Yeah, let me compare." And then he compared, sent it to me, and he's like, "No way, MPD8's better." But it wasn't enough to convert Greenie. Have you tried Aroma de Cuba, mi amor? My first proper non-Connecticut full body, and I really enjoyed it. I have not, buddy. I'll have to check it out, man. Send me a pic of it. Take a pic of the band, and I'll get one. I had my first tribe listening session with Dano last week. That's right, Vooch. You did it. Homemade lasagna. Then we rocked out. Killer, bro. That's super cool, man. Yes, Phono is hooked up. Ooh, tell us. It sounds stupendous. Did it beat your preamp? That's what everybody wants to know. Did the preamp section on the DAC beat your standalone preamp? Thinking about trading in my DAC 07 for the MA3i. DAC, is that what you have, DAC 07? Yeah, man. Do it. I've got an MA3i that is open box, and I can save you like 15%. How about that? Something like that. 15%. So it's like $1,500, $2,000, something like that. Just call me, Chuck. I've got one available. It's silver. It's silver with a black line down the middle, and I think it has a black knob. I think it's a black line and a black knob with the silver face. So it's the silver face unit. JMP. I'm lost. You can't do it. You can't just throw them out like that. I have to think too hard. I'm all vacuum tubes, tuner, phono stage, preamp, monoblocks. Yeah, Booch. Been there. I definitely have been all tubes as well. How do your top end Nat amps sound versus the playback stereo amp? I don't know, man. The playback stereo amp is the most amazing amplifier I've ever heard, hands down. When I heard it, I think it would be better. It would be better. There's just the Playback Designs SPA8 has 800 watts at 8 ohms, 1600 at 4. So I'd have 1600 watts, true RMS watts on my speakers, which would give more dynamic bass grip. Okay, I have phenomenal bass with my setup now with those tubes, but it is a tube bass. So while it is very deep and very formidable and very present, it doesn't have the damping that the playback would have. So it's a little looser in the bass, which actually is part of its charm. But the playback would just be a full tilt dominatrix to those speakers. It would completely dominate them, and it would be able to cook them, right? Like my speakers, I think, well, I wouldn't cook them in the right way. Like right now, if I cranked it beyond belief, beyond safe levels, it would probably, I don't know that the amp would cook, but it would clip. you know. I'm sure. I haven't made it clip yet, but I could. It's 150 watts of tube. Albeit the craziest 150 watts you've ever heard. But I can only imagine that playback amp would just bone crush. It would turn those speakers into weapons, you know. They're borderline weapons right now. So I would have to say they just don't sound as good. Now, that amp is no longer made. We'll see how the new ones should sound like the big one, but the big one, Dave's got one. I mean, that is a force to be reckoned with. That is something you just don't see very often. I've got solid state in the vintage rig, but I'm going to go tube soon with the Sansui 1000A receiver. Cool, buddy. I'm about ready to hook up an old receiver. I have a Pioneer in the living room. Aloha, Mikey and Tribe. What's up, Dan? Good to see you, brother. Brada. When companies offer lifetime subscription, you have to do it. Yeah, well, there you go. Makes sense. Sirius XM offered, and so did Rune at the beginning. I remember. Yeah, and I think it went up a lot. Do they not even offer it anymore? Because you could get it for like, I think when they first started, they were like $350. Then it went up to like 500 or 600 or something. And maybe they don't even do it anymore. I got a message for auto start feeling on app I ignored. It still works. I got a message for auto start feeling on app I ignored. It still works. Okay. It's still working. Okay. Any opinion on line magnetic tube amps made in China? Build quality performance seems good. Yes. I mean, they are good, I don't, wish to go into my feelings politically about China, but I don't believe in supporting China as a regime. I don't think they're good for the world. They represent many bad things. And I'm not talking about the people, right? The people, I feel bad for the people. The people are subjugated, hardcore, and oppressed. And that's why I stand against their oppression. And so I don't recommend Chinese stuff, and I promise my customers I'll never sell them anything Chinese. It's the least I can do, right? I mean, I can't prevent this from being made in China. It's my Samsung phone. Hopefully it's made in Korea, but it's probably made in China. Certain things you just can't get away from, right? But the way Mikey can make a difference is not sell Chinese hi-fi gear, So yeah, line magnetic can be good. And in fact, I think that is one of the better brands out of China. I just don't want to feed their government money. Just do some research, read about the Uyghurs, read about how I just today, somebody told me that there's a new movie and I can't remember what was he saying the movie was. Oh, damn it. I heard the title of the movie, but there's a movie that was just released. Sundance is distributing it, and it was a wedding. It was a gay wedding was in the movie. And in China, because they have a policy of anti-LGBTQ, whatever, they used AI to put a female's face and a female body or whatever on the bride, and changed it so that the people didn't have to see faggotry or whatever you want to call it, like homosexuals on. And so China won't even that they, and I'm not saying it's good for everybody to see that necessarily, but what it tells you is to what level they censor the people's lives. And Sundance pulled it from China. The movie got pulled away, but that is one example of how they control people there. You can't go and practice, as far as I know, any religion, Christianity, I mean, go into the town square with a shirt that says "I love Jesus" and see what happens. I think you'd probably have some problems. I don't even think they can practice Falun Gong in the square or whatever. It's like they have social. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. Look, we don't need all the time. We don't need to burn our time talking about the global how they're just bad for the world and bad for humans and bad for society. So I don't support anything Chinese when I'm able to help it. And I totally support the people of China. Absolutely. On airplanes, the airplanes pay for different thrust ratings. Really? Same engine. They have a hardware plug that releases the thrust to contracted level. Well, far out. Who's got the fastest planes, bro? That's what I want to know. Who's got the fastest planes? I want to get there the fastest. And what I want to know also from you is why the hell haven't planes, why do we still have the same old ass technology? First of all, the planes aren't even as fast as they used to go in the 60s. They used to be totally faster in the 1960s. Now they're slow, probably for fuel consumption or some shit like that. But why do we still have 1960 design fuselage and all that shit? All the main shit, sure, I know all the instrumentation and all that, comms and everything, whatever, sensors, yada, yada, is all modern. But the damn thing, why don't they have supersonic travel? Whatever, sonic boom, why don't they figure that out? We've got enough technology. And then the cherry on top, did we even land on the moon? Doubt it. Okay. Had to punctuate that one with a cherry. Liquid Cheers offers a 10-year program. It's the best. Cool. So Dano does brew taps, man. The best brew taps in the industry. If you want cold liquid delivery, that's what Dano does. His company's called Liquid Cheers, and he will set it up. So for any of you guys that have wicked man caves, Dano can come and set your man cave up with a wicked top of the line, like as high level as your audio. Isn't that the same thing some audio companies do? Hold back a tiny analog output stage board and then charge you more for the next product up the line, and that's the only difference. I don't know. I don't know. I don't deal with any of those companies. None of my products do that. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Where they have I've seen sometimes where boards, I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen where boards have empty spaces. Like you look inside and you look at the board and you're like, oh, there's a whole section over here that's not even populated. It's just empty. And you're like, well, why is it there? Maybe that's what you're talking about. For on the next level up, they populate it with everything, But none of the companies that I deal with. Hey, Mikey Kenny here. I'm totally biased as well when it comes to Fisher and Fishers on my very first show ever. My first words are me singing the song, simply the best, better than all the rest. Yes, cool song. Awesome, man. That's good. They are, man. Kenny, as you guys, in case you guys haven't figured out, is about he leads the Fisher and Fisher fan club. You ought to go see Joanne Shaw Taylor. If you don't dig it, I'll pay for your ticket. Oh, that's cool. I mean, I go see if it's good. If it's good, it's good, bro. If it's good music, I'll dig it. It just needs to be good music. And I'm sure if you're recommending it, it is. Hey, Roberto. Mikey, I often realize that my wife hears details in the music I can't even hear. I can relate. I think we should bring this hobby nearer to the female world, right? Yes, absolutely. If they're into it, I think it's almost like the man has to take care of it and then the woman will enjoy it. It's kind of like, every once in a while you get a woman that is into gear stuff, but typically, generally speaking, and when we generalize, but generally speaking, women aren't gearheads. They're not into gear apparatuses. Well, not electric. Well, okay, I'm going to stop myself. Not shit that guy, motors and cameras and things. I mean, maybe some are, but things that are all just, I don't know. There's like guy shit, and then there's not guy shit, but then there's always the exception to the rule. But typically speaking, if the guy handles the system, then she's going to come in and listen. Like I set up my system, my woman, she'll go in and turn it on herself and be using it. and I'll just hear the system going. And I know she's in there chilling out, and she meditates. She sits there, and I open the door, I'll look in, and she's got her eyes closed, and she's full tilt, like into the music, just getting her, like filling her veins full of it. So yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just including them and playing, like guys are like telling me, they'll be like, oh, my wife really doesn't like my audio system. I'm like, dude, play her favorite music. Did you try that? Oh yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna get her on board. And then other guys are like, it's my only reprieve from my wife. So it's to each his own. But I absolutely feel that women should be part of what we do. I couldn't agree more. JMP, super lead Marshall. Oh, that's what you're talking about, JMP. Okay. Is that what, Jim Marshall or John? What was his name? Was it Jim? Anytime I think of Jim Marshall, I think of Hendrix. JMP, super lead Marshall. Yeah, it's wicked, dude. My brother's a guitar player, and he put it, and we had a Laney over here, 412 cab, and we put that, it was his Laney. We put it up to the Laney, and he plugged in his guitar. What did I have here? Did I have, or he brought his and plugged it in, and he was intimidated by it. He was like, dude, that thing kind of freaks me out. I'm kind of scared of it. Because it was so potent, man. I'm like, dude, sweet, exactly what I want. Total overkill. Something that's just gonna like mow you down, if you want. Yes, sir. Preamp in the A8i is pretty darn amazing. I only have about 1 hour with it so far. Amazing so far. He's talking about the analog section in the MPD8 AI. AI stands for analog input. It has a fully functioning analog input, which bypasses all the chips, all the electronics, no digital. It's a full tilt analog preamp made by Playback Designs. And they know their shit. So that is cool. I'm stoked for you. Hi, Tribe. Make audio files great again. Charles Harrison is on. He's watching from the other room. He's here, staying here right now. He's on his way. He's Tribe member. Remember the Tribe guy in Los Angeles? He's like a film writer, filmmaker. And he is going, he left LA, part of the Exodus, left LA, Hollywood, and he's on his way down to Full Sail Academy in Orlando, Florida, where he will get his master's and sharpen his skills in film production. So he's hanging here right now, and he's in the other room on his laptop watching. I ended up with the Hagel H590 after a tough decision against the Coda amp. Okay, and what made you finally decide on Hagel? Cheers, Tribe. Andy, how's everything, Mikey? Leaves are nearly peak color here in northern Wisconsin. Oh man, dude, it's gonna be over before I know it. I gotta take my woman up there. So, yep, I think we got to make a trip, man. I have to do that after I have guests on the 6th. What do I have on the 14th? What do I have in the mid-November, October, September? Wait, September, October. Okay. I got to come up there, man. I got to get up there. I got to do it. Got to do it. Did you smoke the stogies yet, buddy? Hagel is made in China now. Sad to hear that. I know. I didn't want to go into Hagel because it's Ziggy. But I would give Hagel shit. But since it's Ziggy, I'm going to refrain from giving Hagel shit. Alan, I just got front row seats. It will be a great concert. Holy shit. You got a couple extras, brother? Hello? You can't come to Atlanta with tickets and not call me before you buy them and say, Mikey, I'm going to get some front row seats. You want to come along? I'd be like, yeah. Probably should have bought the Coda. Oh, okay. So you're having second thoughts. Damping factor on the Hagel is greater than 4,000. Okay, but that's a spec, dude. Who cares? Australian horror film Together was digitally altered. Okay, there it is. Was digitally altered. So we can ask Kenny and Deborah Lee. Do you guys know the Australian horror film called Together? It was digitally altered in China to replace a man's face with a woman's face, changing a gay kiss scene into a hetero seen. Oh, okay. Well, there it is. Yes, I like Hegel. Great for the money. Yeah. Great for the money. And that's the thing, man. I remember when my audio systems, when I used to have to, that's some good English right there. When I used to have to tell people, yeah, it's really good for the money. I don't like saying that. Hegel has been sourcing parts from China for a long time. I think they're completely assembled and made in China now. Everybody sources parts from China. Have you ever heard the Infinity IRS? I have not. I always wondered if they sounded as impressive as the look. I haven't. I know that Paul uses those, and they're old school, top of the line things, aren't they? Like they don't even make them anymore, do they? So that old school, anything that's old school and like was the best back then, I'm not interested. But no, I haven't heard them. I'd like to. I'd like to go. Am I MAGA? I'm make America. I'm make audio great again. I am anti-establishment, brother. I don't believe politics is a way to hustle us. Politics are a way to make us infight with each other so that we're not paying attention to them fucking hustling our pants off. That's what they are. All politicians are crooked. They all fucking full of shit. The government doesn't care about us. Big pharma doesn't care about us. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to look out for ourselves. We really can't trust any authority in my mind. And we just have to look out for ourselves and our family on our own. Fortunately, there's a lot of people with the same mentality. So we all share ideas on how to things with health, like anytime something goes wrong, like when I had my gallbladder thing, man, doctors like, we're going to remove your gallbladder. And then, we want to operate and yank that thing out. And, I had all these clients, and viewers call me and with concepts of how to, how to take care of it. And I tried them and it worked, you know? You mentioned the Chinese are doing point-to-point wiring more than most. Why is that? You don't know why? Because they work for $1 an hour, dude. Because they have slave labor. So when you have slave labor, you can do all sorts of lengthy things that take too much time, that are no economy of scale, and you can do that to subvert the global economy. You do it on purpose so that everybody becomes dependent on you. And then once everybody's dependent on you for the products, that's when you mark them up. After everybody stops manufacturing. Once the US stops manufacturing chips, which is actually Taiwan, but if we can look at other things, like look at hi-fi. It used to be in the day that you could buy Chinese audio gear and you could save a ton of money. And that was why we bought it. We bought it because it was at least half the price, if not more, a tenth of the price of the hi-fi stuff. And a lot of it sounded similar. Nowadays, it's the same freaking price pretty much. What is the Denafrips Terminator? The latest one, $8,000 or something like that. Are you kidding me? $8,000 for a Chinese DAC? Do you know how much it cost them to make it over there? $5. They have kids putting shit together. Okay, if it's not kids and you don't believe that, then it's adults that live at the factory. Okay, they don't have a home to go to. Their home is the dormitory at the factory they work at. They get up in the morning and they go to work, and then they come back to their dorm and then they go to work again. It's slave labor. They don't have lives. That's how they do the shit. That's how they point-to-point wire it. Slave labor. Oppression of other human beings. It's sad. It's messed up. I went from Tokyo to Bangkok in a clunker jet. They busted out for me, then 10 other people. It smelled like oil and looked like raccoons living in it. Holy shit. We flew over a typhoon. Fun times. Dude, did you have Valium? Oh my God. I have to do that. That's like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. But that is high adventure, man. I mean, look, you're going to do some adventure travel. That is definitely adventure travel. We have old airplanes because of the engineering and certification behind it. Bureaucracy. Okay. Without the certification, it was the Wild West. All comm airliners are pinned to below the speed of sound. Commercial airliners. Okay, got it. But dude, they used to rage though. They used to do 500 miles an hour, didn't they? I mean, I remember looking at the spec of some old 1967 ass, riveted. They were so beautiful. The planes were so cool back then. They had like this highly polished aluminum with rivets, like a million rivets in the damn thing. You're like, dude, that thing looks so badass and old school tin can. It's so cool. And those things raged. They'd have that big ass tail engine. Remember, like coming right in the center of the tail, and then a couple under the wings, and those things hauled ass, bro. Was that Charles from the cigar short after Expona? From the cigar short after Expona. No, was there a Charles with us? You talking about when we sat at the table? Was there a Charles in there? Was that what you're talking about? No, there was no Charles with us. My wife has a great ear. Yes, mine does too. We compare audio sources, vinyl streaming and SACD. Males lose their hearing and balance sooner, and our testosterone. I don't vote. Yeah, exactly. That way I can blame everyone else. There you go. Depending on what's happening. George Carlin used to say that. Oh, really? That's great. I never heard the IRS betas, but I heard the Genesis clones of them. Yeah, man, he's a good guy. Oh man, I can see his face right now. The Asian dude that owns Genesis, Gary Coe. He's a good guy. Heard them through all Levinson gear. It was on the early 90s. Sounded terrible. Heard it at the listening room in Scarsdale, New York. Yeah, man, you have to know what you're doing to set up a system that sounds good. Pathos built in Italy and all components made in Italy. Ever thought about carrying that brand? I have, as a matter of fact. It's just like, right now, imports from Italy. Jesus, I bought a motorcycle part. It was 60 points. 60%. There's 30% on automotive, which they classify motorcycle parts as. There's 15% on metal, and then 15% the general baseline tariff. So Italy is a bad idea right now to bring stuff in. Now, consumer electronics are probably less than automotive, but it's still going to be 15 points regardless, for sure. I have thought about Pathos. It seems like a cool brand. Although I bring in audio analog, that is my typically what I'll do is I'll look and see who's carrying it. If a bunch of dealers already have it, I don't want it. Okay, because I'm not going to go and promote and do all that stuff and then have these, dealers that are having a hard time selling, that have brick and mortars that will undersell, and do that. I don't partake in that. But great brand. Stogies are waiting on the next bonfire hangout. Okay, cool, buddy. Yeah, you got to let me know when we're doing track day next. We're going to go this weekend to the vintage motorcycle races at Barber. Mike, why you not monetize? What? Monetize what? My channel? What are you talking about? Explain more. Behringer factory in China has 3,000 employees living in the factory. Look at that, dude. That is whacked out. And then every lunchtime they get a scoop of oatmeal. Oh, it's sad. As a matter of fact, I went to one of those camps in Korea. And this is Korea, bro. And it's South Korea. And we went to an electronics tour to a factory. It was LG, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it. It was the LG plant in Korea. And it was the same thing. They had dormitories. And I'm like, Jesus, and this is Korea where shit is good. Like, I can't even imagine what the conditions are like in China. They probably got barbed wire and all that shit, Isn't the computer on your clothes and on? How about your phone? Come on, dude. Okay, don't say come on, dude, because what you're, by saying that, you're implying that I'm stupid. There's certain things that I can't fucking make a decision on, right? Like this phone. Okay, this is probably made in China, even though it's not a Chinese, it's not a Huawei or whatever. It's a Samsung, right? So this is a Korean company. Okay, it's made in China, but I'm supporting a Korean company. I'm not supporting a fucking line magnetic Chinese company. I'm not supporting a Yang Wang fucking supercar made in China Chinese company. Okay. There's a big difference. An Apple phone is made in China too, but it's an American company. Okay. It's still fucked. I don't like Apple, but it's still fucked that they make it in China. But every time I can choose, I do. My clothes are absolutely not fucking made in China. I will not buy Chinese jeans. I will not buy a Chinese t-shirt. I won't buy Chinese fucking anything. My watches, none of my watches they're all made in Switzerland. Okay. My shoes, I will not buy. My shoes are made in Vietnam. Okay. My underwear is not fucking Chinese. My underwear is made in anywhere else, Pakistan, fucking anywhere else but China. I will not buy it if it says made in China on the label, if I have a choice. If I don't have a choice, like with the phone or something like that, if they decide to sub out to a Chinese vendor, I can't do anything about that, right? But, if you're a lefty, which is what it sounds like here, it sounds like you're a liberal, okay? You understand you can't be gay in China, right? You're going to go to jail if you're gay in China, okay? Is that the world that you want? You want gays to be locked up, you know? That's what China's like, bro. So don't give me the come on, dude, man. China is fucking uncool, bro. If you really want to get down to it, China is uncool. There's nothing fucking cool about China. They're the global fucking enemy, bro. I mean, they pollute like retardedly. They overfish. They ruin the fucking planet. They control their people, a social credit score. You can't go from fucking one part of the town to the other town without having your card and scanning it. Otherwise, you're not. If you've said something bad about the Fuhrer, you won't be able to walk into the next neighborhood because the like your demerits. You're socially you have to stay at home until we tell you you can because you maybe made a comment offhanded or something like that. China's the most fucking uncool regime in the world, dude. Read about the Uyghurs. How are you going to fight about that? How are you going to what your attitude is? Oh, just give up, Your attitude is complacency. Well, everything's made in China, so fuck it. I'm not even going to try. Well, I'm not weak like that, brother. I'm strong. And so what I do is every place I have a choice, I exercise my right to not buy Chinese because I'm not just going to throw in the towel and be a weak piece of shit and just be like, oh, fuck it, I can't beat it. It's the same with unity. So I think politics are fucked up because they separate us. So what am I doing? Am I sitting back and just going, well, I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to sit here and fucking, go on and talk shit or whatever. I've got the hi-fi tribe. I bring everybody together. I've got trans, gay, black, Muslim, Jew, fucking every type comes together and we all come together under music because we don't give a shit about the politics and whatever. Yeah, we talk about it or whatever, but we don't hold it against each other. We don't separate from one another. We understand that we are unified as a human, and so I'm doing something, creating a group that unifies people because I take fucking action. So I don't buy Chinese clothes. Okay. The only thing I can't control is when some company subcontracts to a Chinese manufacturer, but there's no fucking way anything I own has a Chinese fucking name on it or says made in China on it. Maybe Samsung, it might be made in China, whatever. But when I have a choice, I exercise my right, bro, because I make stand. I'm a guy that stands. I don't lay down. You sound like you lay down when shit gets hard. I fucking stand up and fight when shit gets hard. So sorry, man. You touched on a little fucking spot right there for me. George Carlin was the best. He was the best. He's the shit. Yes, fuel efficiency is why we don't go that fast. Cruise sipping off fuel. That's right. Boom, Supersonic is trying to reinvent. Oh, cool. Commercial airlines are actually pretty quick. But man, I mean, we should be able to go from New York to Los Angeles in, 2 hours. Why is that so hard? Go up higher, go faster, go higher, the fact that it takes whatever 5 hours or something. I mean, it takes me 4 hours from Atlanta to get to LA. It should be faster than that. That's a long ass time. YouTube channel, you have all the criteria: 1,000 subs, 4,000 viewing hours. If it's by choice, you can play music all day. What like music? I don't know what you're talking about. Samsung is proudly Korean. They are, but I mean, do they sub this shit out? Do they sub it, to Chinese? They probably have Chinese, displays or something like that. But hopefully, I'd love it if Samsung was, because I won't buy it if it has a Chinese name on it. I ain't buying it. It has to be. Yeah, I mean, if I know it's made in China and it's a different company and it, whatever, I can't help it. I mean, look, I have a Volvo. Okay, Volvo is probably, there's got to be Chinese parts. My fucking Ducati, which is really sad, has probably got Chinese parts on it. Not back in the day, but now it is. Stretch the budget to 30K. A secondhand setup can outperform 100K rig. True system synergy is rare. It takes years of experience. Luck might get you close, but that's the exception. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. What we thought about is I've never seen a 30K beat 100K, but it depends what and what. What I thought about doing one time is going to like Capitol Audio Fest and doing a room where I took items that were free, a whole system of items that were pulled out of the garbage or people didn't want, scrap. The whole system cost $0. And then do a system like that and say, this is a $0 cost fucking system. And listen to how I can. That's a flex on how good you are at setting shit up. And that's something that I could do it. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me at all. It's just a way to, it would be funny and comical, and it would be a way to flip off the industry. But then again, my motivation is to flip off the industry, which is not a good place to derive energy from, right? I'd rather derive energy from making people happy, rather than doing a practical joke and being the jokester guy that does a $0 cost system that kicks ass on many of the other ones. That just disrupts stuff. It would be fun though. It would be fun. Right on about China. I love the food and people. Very good friends and help finance a few businesses. Absolutely. Look, dude, my top clients are Chinese. They spend 6 figures with me. And you know what they tell me? We like what you say about China. Like, we understand. They understand that me boycotting Chinese products is standing for the Chinese people. I'm a humanitarian, man. I think if we let China get away with it, and then we let other countries in Europe start to do it, before long, it's going to be an authoritarian regime across the globe. If we don't nip it in the bud, we need to nip it now before it gets out of hand. Otherwise, they're not going to relinquish control once they have control, and they love their control in China. China is the poster child for authoritarian regime, and they pull it off, and they totally do it. And if other countries adopt their methods, we're fucked. That's all there is to it. So they're not, but the people, that's why I boycott, because I stand for the people, and the food is great. I had Chinese, authentic Chinese food from Chinese people yesterday, and they love me, and I love them. I come in and I know how to talk a little Chinese, speak a little Chinese. You mentioned your phone, but not your computer. It's if it's made in China, you're giving me shit unwarranted. I'm just pointing out hypocrisy. It's not hypocrisy, dude. How is it hypocritical to say, when I have a choice, I don't choose Chinese? When I have a choice, I don't choose Chinese. How is that hypocritical? I don't know. You can call me whatever the fuck you want, but the people that know me know where my heart is and where I'm coming from. And if you think I'm some sort of hypocrite, weird fucker, then you clearly can't see who I am. I stand for humanity, bro. I mean, I'm a hippie. I mean, could you not tell from like my comments that I'm a deadhead? The posters behind me. Can you not tell that I'm a fucking hippie? That means I'd love to hug trees and hug humans. Okay. I hugged a stranger at the fucking Goose Show and he said, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And I don't even know the fucker's name. Okay. That's how I am. So I stand for people, and China is the global enemy, brother. So whenever I can choose, I choose. Look, I'm using a Logitech camera. This thing is probably made in China. You know, this is a German fucking microphone. You know, Neumann. You know, is it German or Swiss? It's Neumann. It's not made in China. You know, Berlin. It's German. Look at this shit. Here's the box. Made in motherfucking Germany, bitch. You know, that's what it is. It's not some stupid Chinese shit. You know, look, my sunglasses. I will not buy fucking sunglasses made in China. Made in Italy. You see that right on the arm there? Where is it? Dolce & Gabbana. Made in Italy. You can't, it's not really focusing on me, but made in Italy. That's what it says. Dolce & Gabbana. Made in Italy. And look how cool they are. Look at that shit. I'm an Italian. I just need to get a cigar from Nicaragua, kick back, and I got my Italian shades because Chinese shades look stupid. So anyways, that's how I feel about China. So if you want to fight for China, bro, you can fight for China. Go ahead. Be that dude. Be the guy that fights for China. That's like the gay people that are fighting to free Palestine, you know, complete idiots. You'd be killed in fucking Palestine if you went there, you know, but they free Palestine. It's like, oh, okay. Go there and see what happens. Really? You want to free Palestine so that Sharia law can be like allowed somewhere? And I'm not getting into that whole thing about it because I think Israel, I'm not even gonna fucking talk about it, okay? But you know, it's mindless thought saying things like that. People parrot shit that they hear and they don't even think about what it means. Faster, higher, more risk in engineering. Billions invested since 1960s to make it work. It's pretty safe, so not much business case for faster. Cost to improve speed is very costly, and airlines want cheap aircraft and minimum fuel costs. It's all about trades. So make it more efficient, man. Make it faster and more efficient. But yeah, it takes 4 hours from East Coast to West Coast because you're going against the wind. West to East is faster. Oh, right, with the rotation of the Earth. Much business case for faster. Oh, yeah, we did that. China has dominated the world of manufacturing for a while now. They have factories where robots are building robots. 4 people work there. Hilarious and creepy. Well, yeah, I mean, we put them there. You know, we put them on the map. And actually, Apple, I'm reading a book right now called Apple in China, and it talks about how Apple's greed and desire to make more money put a ton of billions and billions, probably trillions of dollars into the Chinese hands and taught them a ton about technology. Apple is responsible for a lot of that shit, what they're talking about. Now, my guess is we're going to financially pull the rug out from under them. My guess is we're going to do something that financially hurts them. Yeah, they are advanced in, I'm not saying they're not advanced or they're not advanced in technology. Yeah, they copy everything. You know, do they innovate? I don't know. But they definitely copy. We will do something. We will not sit by and let somebody grow to be bigger and more important than us. We just won't. We're the global fucking mafia, right? We're the big gang. We're the military, you know. We're the global police, and I'm not saying it's good. In fact, we're bullies, right? And I don't agree with a lot of shit we do, but we will do some shit. We will not let China surpass us and fucking leave us in the dust. Okay. We just won't. We'll come up with something. They want to have robots build robots. We'll have something that eliminates robots, or we'll have robots that kill robots, or whatever. Or we'll, you know, do something that, you know, or we get paid by them and then our leaders sell us out like Biden was doing, you know. Whatever. Sup, Mikey and Tribe. Oaktown Love. Hey, man. Welcome. He's just baiting you. Yeah, totally. Israel was created by the United Nations in 1948. It used to be called Palestine. Yeah, and then wasn't it something before that? Yeah. Yeah, Israel's a whole sticky conversation, and the world is really got the microscope on Israel right now. Israel is about to become persona non grata, man. You can feel it happening. Mikey, you can't hide the mega. Make audio great again, baby. I'm just busting them, dude. We all try not to support oppression as best we can, but some products we need because they're the only ones that make them. Of course, that's what I'm talking about, like certain things. But I'm not kidding, bro. I mean, I'm not lazy about it. I do not any product I buy. I do not like my shoes. Shoes are one that where I absolutely won't buy Chinese shoes. Little shit, t-shirts. My look at my t-shirts. It's got to be made in Pakistan, made in India, made in, Ukraine. It can be made anywhere. I don't care. Anywhere. Thailand. The shoes are all made in Thailand, or Vietnam, rather. You can't have a company without divulging company secrets in China. Oh, right. Yeah. Someone told me doing business with the Chinese keep two different sets of books. When you want to invest in Chinese, the Chinese companies show you a set of books that is the books for getting investment or for selling. That's not the real books. And when you tell them, show us the real books, they're like, no, we don't. That's company private. We don't. Those are for internal use. So they have two sets of books. According to somebody that I know that's in the financial industry that does venture capital. The government is bullying us right now. That is the main priority. Yeah, it seems like it, man. It's a clusterfuck. Whatever's going on, something is afoot. It's clear that something's afoot. Now the military is going to Portland. So we've got military in where? Washington, in Chicago, and Portland. So they're mobilizing the military across the U.S. for some reason. Okay. Yeah, under the guise of we're gonna cut back criminal shit. We're gonna which that's how you get people on board. What I see is there's military mobilizing in certain cities. So why those cities? They're going to the Democrat cities. So what would be happening that would cause rampage in Democrat cities? Maybe they know something that Soros is going to plan, something, who knows? There's all sorts of speculation going on. But whatever it is, since we're taking gays and China, what do you call a soup of the day? Oh, dude, no, shut up. Don't even say that here. Don't even say that here. You can't say that here, bro. I know the answer. I'm the leader of Trans Tifa. Join us. Trans Teabag. All good. I'm with you, Rach. We're gonna listen to music. I'm not marching anything. Coming from a guy with kidney disease, cheers for the huge water bottle. Yeah, brother. That's it, man. It's I have to force myself to drink. It's like I was talking to you about the gallbladder thing. Part of that thing now is I drink a lot of water. You don't want your blood to get thick, You want your blood or your bile, whatever. Ask Alvin. He got screwed by China. Wasn't that Denafrips? Yes. Alvin is in Singapore. He's a Chinese guy in Singapore, and even he was not immune from getting screwed by the Chinese company. And it was Denafrips. And when the guys from Denafrips talked to me through Alvin, that's what put me on my anti-China thing. The things that they were asking me to do or what they were demanding, I ignored their demands, but what they were demanding was so stacked in their favor and not in my favor, that I realized at that point, geez, this must be how communists do business. Like and I know it's not actual communism, it's whatever, a variant, but it's like whatever they are, they're unfair and they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit what's in it for you. They just want whatever's in it for them, and that's it. So at that point, I'm like, there's no way I'm sending money. I mean, I was sending lots of money, and I was working for a 10-point commission. Imagine that, because all the Denafrips and all the Kinky Studio and all the third one was J was it Jay's Audio? The transports. 3 different companies All that had to come from anybody buying Denafrips in America for 1 full year had to come through Mikey. So I sold every single what now? What are they? I want to say transformer, not transmitter. Denafrips, Terminator. I'm thinking of movies. And so every single one. So I was sending, like, if I sent 50 grand to China, actually it was going to Alvin, but 50 grand to him and keep 5. I'm like, this, but the idea was it'll be free advertising. There's a whole stream of sales that'll come through me, and I'll get new customers from it. Which it did. But when they started making these crazy demands and I realized who I was dealing with, then I realized Alvin is then taking this 50 grand and sending however much over to them and supporting this kind of really uncool business practice. They call it free enterprise, but it just means cut the other guy off at the knees, really, and no respect, At that point, I'm like, I'm out. I quit. I said, I'm just, I'm not going to sell it anymore. And after that, I changed my whole view. It was after doing business with China that I changed my whole view on it. It really woke me up. Good night, Charles. JM Labs. Yes, Jay's audio. So that was the one that I'm thinking about. JM Labs speakers. Love all the love streams. Keep doing what you're doing and don't let ball busters like me keep you from doing what you do. You're authentic. Right on, man. I know. That's my problem is I should just not take anybody serious. I would be better off if I just didn't take anybody serious, but it's sometimes I'm an easy mark. You can get me, you can, I got you, and once you figure out my hot buttons, you fuckers got me, and one of them is China. I'll get better over the years. I'll start to learn how to catch it. But I just want what bothers me is when people think I'm like anti-Chinese people or whatever, and I'm definitely not. That's how Nick and I actually got to be friends. Was he contacted me up after this thing where people are like, "You're racist." When I said I won't sell Chinese stuff, they're like, "You're racist." Remember when it was all in fashion to call people racist, like way back when, before right? I think it was right about during COVID. The George Floyd thing kicked it off. Then if you said anything against, I wasn't even people, it was China products, you're racist. And I was like, oh my God, it really bummed me out. I'm like, people can't even tell that I stand for the people. And then Nick called me up and Nick said, dude, I'm in a band and we do touring. He was in a band. They did touring through China. And he's like, let me tell you some stories, brother. You're right on point. And then he told me about some stories about what it was like in China. And I was like, damn. So he basically was like, he wanted to make it so that I didn't feel bad. And after that, I was like, man, this is a cool dude. Is Andreas coming on soon? I know he's not feeling well. Yeah, he's coming on Sunday. I'm sorry. Is it Sunday today? Yeah, he's coming on Wednesday. Yep. Didn't Mark Levinson just come out with a new 15-inch woofer speaker? Yeah, it's been out for a little while, but he just did a thing on it. Yep. Mark makes good stuff. Absolutely. You could compete with Joe Rogan, need sponsorship. You can go big. Yeah, that would be freaking amazing. That would be fun for me. Just doing what I do now, talking, interviewing people, talking with people, that's cool. But making the videos about gear and all that stuff, I can't do that. I can do it a little bit to tell you guys about like shit, like the thing that I did the other day with the audio, the AGD DAC. What a great DAC. And it's and $8,500 or $8,000. I'm selling them for $7,500. All inclusive, everything's in it except for the amp. But streamer, all that shit. And people were like, well, what does it sound like? Like they thought I was like, what I realized at that point is these guys don't even realize that if I'm fucking talking about it, it means it's great. Otherwise, I don't talk about it. I only talk about shit that I'm impressed with. And I'm like, they think I'm a reviewer. So like, he's waiting for me to say, how does it sound? It's like, dude, if I'm fucking talking about it, it sounds phenomenal. and it's the best fucking thing for this price that I can find, you know. But people sometimes still are expecting me to be like other reviewers where I everything I just get in, and things I get in, I may be indifferent on, and some, you know, and I tell you about, oh, the depth of the black background was amazing. You know, the mids were completely fleshed out and emanated from a velvety black background with highs that seared into the stratosphere. And I just felt like the hand of God was touching my every sense and heart. And yeah, I wept for the singer, you know, whatever. Like I've totally been through that, done that, you know. That's called hustling. That's hustling you. Okay. If I talk about it, if the product makes it on my channel and I'm taking the time to make a freaking video, nobody's paying me to make that video. Okay. I'm doing it because I've decided to sell the shit. Well, I only sell things that I think are incredible. They have to be absolutely the best that I know at that price level. I only sell one DAC at $8,000. I only sell one DAC at 2,500, one DAC at $5,000, one DAC at $8,000, one DAC at 12,500, one DAC at 15,000, one DAC at 26,000. That's, I have one in each category, in each level. I don't have three different DACs at $10,000 so I can sell you whichever one I have in my back room at the time, you know, because I run out of shit sometimes. Like playback designs, I'm constantly sold out of playback designs. I take pre-orders on them. You know, it would be much better if I could, you know, sell something to you the day that you have the impulse to buy. I can take advantage of your impulse and sell to you. Sometimes my customers have to wait 30 days for a DAC. I trust that they're going to make the best decision, and they do. But not many people will want to wait. So if I wanted to do better business, I'd carry 3 DACs at the price of the MPD8. And then when I didn't have MPD8 in stock, I'd sell you a different one, you know, but I can't do that, man. Can't do that to people. Do you think our country is moving in a positive direction right now? I can't tell. I can't tell. That's how I feel about it. Like, I don't know. And it's not clear to me. I want it to, but it seems like what I'm hoping for is the shit that we're going through is going to have a back end on it. Like it's a means to an ends. All the shit that's happening, I'm not going to judge it in the moment right now. I'm going to judge it in a couple years and see what all this action did. And then I'll be able to judge the direction, because I don't think I can see through the smoke right now. I don't think I can see what the president's vision is. I don't see it. You know, I don't know where he's going with everything. It seems pretty fucking whacked out, but I'm willing to hedge that better things are afoot. However, that is being tempered by AI and other surveillance state and all these things that temper my feeling of things are going in the right direction. You know, it's like they're weird times right now. Times are very weird. So I'm not clear on where we're going, but I know that for me in my life, I'm headed in the right direction. I'm going the right direction. My friends are going in the right direction, and I'm leading a group of people that are going to go in the right direction. The Hi-Fi tribe, we're going in the right direction. All of us are doing the right things. So really, like I said earlier, we have to take care of ourselves. We can't trust the powers that be or any sort of you know, in many ways experts or claimed experts or whatever. We have to take care of one another. So the tribe, we're taking care of one another, and we're moving in the right direction regardless of what goes on. This China conversation reminded me how we once got a container from China. The products were a mess, but technically can't trust them really. They will screw you and sell you shit if they can. Yeah, absolutely. They will switch things. I know people that manufacture in China or that have manufactured in China, and when China runs out of some part to make your product, they will substitute a part that's not part of the specification package. and they will sub it and not tell you. And then they will send you the shit. And then you open it up and you're like, we didn't spec that, whatever. That zipper, that's not our snap. We told them we wanted black snaps, not antique brass snaps. But if they run out of black snaps, they will substitute antique brass and send it to you. And just because they know you're just going to take it and sell it, you're not going to send it back. It's too much of a pain in the ass. It's not, worth it. And they do the same shit with electronics. We don't have that chip or that chip you'd need, but like that resistor, okay, sub a different resistor. We don't have that, diode, substitute a different diode, and they do that. It's totally true. You have talent. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. What's good, Mikey and Tribe? First live in a long time because of the new job. Looking at that PSM 156 on 11 stereo. Buy it, brother. Why don't you call me up and I'll give you a little discount just to show you a little brotherly love, man. Just holler and I'll give you a discount code. Parting words for the night: Fisher and Fisher, Playback Designs, etc. Mikey does not carry crap. Yeah, it's pricey, but you get what you pay for. I'm signing off. Good night, you all. All right, Brent, good to see you, man. But question for you: bought a house, slowly putting together a listening room. What should I put in my walls in terms of AC? You have any suggestions? Where do I get those 240 volt outlets? Okay, so you put 10 gauge, okay? And if you want to get fancy, you could put 10 gauge silver plated copper, like what I did. But really all you need is 10 gauge, okay? Because once you get outside the house, it's copper too. It's not silver all the way to the, whatever. But you as long as your last 5 feet are a good power cord, you're going to get the benefit there. So just put 10 gauge in the walls, run one dedicated 20 amp circuit to your rig, and everything plugs into one circuit. Now, that circuit doesn't mean only one outlet. You can actually put 3 outlets on one circuit, but it needs to all be on one breaker in the panel. Make sure that breaker in the panel is on a different leg than your refrigerator, okay? Your refrigerator makes noise, puts noise back onto the AC line. Make sure that you, and it doesn't mean the next, it means the next one down. It's not across. Like, how the legs go? They go like tick, 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 tick. That's all on the same leg in a switch box. So you need to tell your guy, just if you got an electrician, put the breaker on a different pole than the refrigerator. Okay. So separate it, isolate it from your fridge, just separate it. On a different phase. Okay. I think that's the correct way to say it. And then get a Furatech, NCF, GTXD R, a good, and if you don't want to spend $250 on that, the 240 volt outlets that I have, I made. Okay, so you can't get those. But I used PowerCon. You can look up Neutrik, Neutrik, Neutrik PowerCon. And the reason I use those is so that there's no way that I plug a normal plug into a 240, because a 240 and a 110 or a 120 are the same socket at the wall. It just has a blade, that's for a 20 amp. But you can put whatever you want in the wall. It doesn't matter. You can put a sideways plug, a thing plug, a twist lock, anything. Just something so that you don't plug a normal plug into it, because you'll blow your shit up, right? So I put a twist lock Neutrik. You can just take a piece of aluminum and cut a hole if you have a drill press, make your thing, and then just mount that onto a plate and then put the plate on the wall. You could probably go to Home Depot and get a plastic blank and then drill the holes in a plastic blank if you wanted, and then put the Neutrik twist lock. That's how I did it. I made them. And just run 120 amp circuit out there. 240 volt is if you have dual voltage gear, you can put your amplifiers on 240 because amplifiers run better on 240, but it's not necessary. And then get yourself a PSM 156. So a Puritan audio. All right, guys, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I can't believe I went this long. So I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. That interview with the Playback Designs guy was great. Just saw a couple of days ago. Oh yeah, isn't that awesome? Like the background, dude. I was in Switzerland with him at his place in Switzerland, and that was not a fake backdrop. That is such a beautiful backdrop. It looks fake. That's how gorgeous it was. Could you go over what it takes to deliver a 625-pound speaker? Crates, movers, pallets, forks, trucks. It must be a bitch to deliver those. Yeah, it's not as bad as you think. They go into crates. Yes, you're correct. So with the ones that are 625 pounds, you're talking about like my 1,000.1s, they would be in two separate crates because the crate would be too heavy. So it'd be two separate crates, one speaker in each crate. Each crate would have four separate cardboard boxes that are cartons that have all cushioned and all that kind of stuff with well die cut stuff, not cockamamie stuff that they hand cut and shoved in there, like proper packaging. I'm looking at my microphone. I'm supposed to be looking here. Proper packaging. And so each one goes into a crate, and then a freight truck comes, they pick it up with a pallet jack, they take it to your house. It shows up at your house. They have pallet jacks. They bring it up your driveway into your garage, and they drop it right there. You then take an electric screwdriver, you open up the crate, open it up, you get yourself a hand truck and another person, and then one by one, you load those boxes up into your room. No boxes over 200 pounds. When you have 625 pounds and you got four boxes, you can do the math. 200 per box would be 800 pounds. So everything's under 200 pounds. So it's not that crazy, right? You put them onto a dolly, you bring them into your room, you take the box, you open up the box, you slide it off, and you put the feet on the bottom. The first one is upside down. You put the outriggers on it. Actually, with the 625-pound speaker, it's a big plate that goes on the bottom. You set up the base, the plinth, if you will, on the ground first. That comes in another box, and then you take you everything else has feet on it. You slide the top off. You then lift it. Both of you, guy in the front and the back, lift it, set it on the thing. Set the other one on the thing. Stack it up. Put the jumper wires together. Crank them down. Get everything all hooked up so the crossover, all the speakers are wired together, and then plug them in, man, and rock the Casbah. So it's not that crazy. And then once you get them in, like the ones that I have in now, if I need to move them, me and one other guy, there's furniture sliders that come with these that go on the bottom. We can get down on our knees, like, and push. And one guy gets behind maybe and pulls a little bit on the feet, on the plate, and you can slide those bases. So we can slide them into place once they're on the ground. What are the stands you have your tube traps on behind your rack? That's a pretty good eye. Those are little Live Vibe audio stands. I've got baby Live Vibe audios. The same thing, my audio rack that my components are on, I have little baby ones for the tube traps. Even a blind deaf person can tell that they have been demonizing trans people for over 10 years now. You have to ask why. This is the U.S. government in full Saturday Night Live comedy skits. It really is. We were talking. I got to tell you something. So I actually argued, which is funny. I'm a hetero, conservative, white male, gun toting. I wouldn't say I'm MAGA. I'm anti. I'm libertarian, if anything, right? Leave me the fuck alone. I can take care of my own, but and I argued on the side of trans people because I was watching a Pierce Morgan thing. I'm going to tell you this, and this you might find this fascinating. But I was willing to argue for it. I'm like, fuck, I'll go toe to toe because I could understand what the trans was. It was actually a non-binary, person, and which is a trans, as I understand it. I read this whole thing about afterwards after I argued. But so it was Pierce Morgan, and he had a trans woman at the top, and then on the bottom below him, it was three in a row or whatever, was a non-binary, they, and he started the talk, and Pierce said, well, let's listen to whatever her name was, because she's trans. And then the non-binary at the bottom said, well, I'm trans too. And then he went, well, what do you mean you're trans? Like, and she said, well, they said, I'm non-binary. Okay. And I was like, okay. And then he said, well, what does non-binary mean? And then they said, well, are you really going to ask me that right now? I said, no, really. I didn't know you're non-binary. What does non-binary mean? Please explain to me what it means. Well, they couldn't explain it. They were like, it means that I don't, and they couldn't explain it. Okay. It was easy for me to see how to explain that. Okay. It's like this: non binary means the person does not identify gender with male or female. They don't wish to be confined to either male or female. They don't want to be classified that way. Okay. They're not trying to say that there doesn't exist male or female sex. Sex and how someone is born is different than gender identity. They're very aware of what their sex is. And it's nobody's fucking business what their sex is. That's how, if I was a non-binary and Pierce Morgan said to me, well, what does that mean? Are you man or woman? It's none of your fucking business. I'm neither. I'm both. I'm whatever the fuck, I don't need to describe it to you. It's none of your fucking business is the answer. None of your fucking business. Use your imagination. Let's get on. Let's move on. And I was like, God, it would be such a simple argument to close if a non-binary person just, when said, "Are you a man or a woman?" It's none of your fucking business. It doesn't matter. I identify as neither, or I identify as both. I identify as human. Whatever. It's an easy argument for me. But she was having it was, they were non-binary, but it was, whatever. My guess was it was female. Was having a hard time describing it. And it was like, and I was just thinking to myself that is the easiest thing to just describe. They don't want to be labeled as something, they don't want to be a man. They don't want to be a female. Fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck if you don't want to be either, or you want to be both. If you look at the Hindu religion, and other, I don't know if it exists in Buddhism, but in Hindu, there's certain monks that are like non-binary. They have features of both a man and a woman, because to be godlike is to be gender free. God, do you think God's a man or a woman? I mean, Christians will argue God's a man. I don't think it is. I think divinity is, if you're a divine creator, it transcends gender. Gender to me is a human thing. Penis, vagina. It's like, I'm sorry, that's not gender. That's sex. Sex is a human thing. Penis, vagina, male, female. That's organic carbon life form attribute. It's not a divine being attribute. So God would be, to me, both male and female. It would be a unity of male and female would be God, because it transcends sex. So if a human wants to not be restricted by that, cool, whatever. You can be both. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But it's just like this whole making it into a drama thing is what's weird. And I do have a thing where it gets weird to me too, is if somebody, say, that's non-binary, gets upset and angry and violent when you don't call them they, them, or whatever. That's bullshit. Okay. You can call me whatever you want. I'm not going to get angry. If I've had people say ma'am to me when I used to have long hair, I just laughed. It's like, I don't care. Call me whatever it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But I'm not going to be like, no, call me, so I have a thing like, you can't try and impose. I get, if I know you and I want to respect you and whatever, I don't care. I'll call you whatever the hell. But it is a weird thing, Rachel. So it is a whole, it's just a strange thing. I don't know why it's such a big deal. I don't know why people who are not trans give a shit what trans people do. Like, it's not important. Now, I can ask you, let me ask you, as a trans person, would it bother you if cisgendered people just fucking didn't even pay attention that you were just didn't even care that you were transgender? Do you need to be identified as transgender, or could you just, if they just, if it wasn't even a thought, they didn't even think about it, they just looked at you in your eyes, talked to you like a person. They're not even thinking male, female. They're just looking at you as a person and talking to you as a person. Do you need to be identified as trans? Does that give you something? Or do you care, or do you not care? That's what I'd like to know. Because as a cisgendered person, I feel like, just if you don't like it, like if I don't like it, I'm just gonna fucking ignore it. Like if I don't like a chick with a beard, we were at the museum the other day, and there's this woman there, with a beard, and and like, so clearly it's a woman that's taking testosterone, but whatever, I don't care. I'm just gonna ignore it. I saw it. Okay, now I'm onto the art. I'm looking over here. I'm just gonna ignore that person. It's not my vibration. It's not my thing. So would that bother you? Or would you feel like, yeah, great, please leave me alone? You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. I don't know. Anyways, we got way off hi-fi. The orange is sending troops to Democratic cities is a dress rehearsal for the midterm elections. Okay. The goal is to cause a low vote turnout through intimidation to stay in power. Check that out, man. That's pretty insightful. That's very, wow. I like that. I think that makes sense. Yeah, the pendulum swings both ways, man. That's all I can say about that shit. We got a guy in now that's going to do all the opposite shit that the last guy did, right? The last guy, martyred George Floyd, a fucking derelict drug addict that was high on fucking fentanyl when he died. Yes, from a cop fucking holding his face to the ground and whatever. But they martyred this guy who was like, why the fuck would you martyr that guy? Okay. So now the other side martyrs Charlie Kirk. Okay. Um, then back in the day when it was the last regime, whatever, people got canceled for talking about the jab. You couldn't be a professor and say, don't, the jab is, COVID didn't start in a pangolin fucking sandwich in the wet market. It started in the lab. If you said that shit as a professor, you lost your fucking job. You got canceled. Now people are getting canceled for talking shit about Charlie Kirk. So it's the same shit, the same coin, both sides. It's now the pendulum swinging the other way. So all the Democrats, unfortunately, have to take their fucking beating now because the Republicans took a beating for 4 years with Biden. So it's the same shit, different dude, different people going 180 degrees the other way. So the pendulum fucking swings. That's the way it works. What I see it and how I see it is it's two sides of the same fucking coin, and it's designed to keep us from unifying. Okay, that's the whole game. Keep us from unifying. Keep us separated. Keep us arguing about things, arguing this thing, arguing that thing, arguing, talking shit. Man. You're stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. Stupid. It keeps us separated. So what we need to do, and we can't change politics. We can't. Speculation is our votes don't even fucking help. So what can we do? You ask yourself. I ask myself. Well, you know what we can do? We can stop fucking arguing amongst ourselves. We can just shut the fuck up and start loving one another and start fucking listening to music and having burgers and lasagna like Vooch did with Dano and shit like that, and not argue. If we don't argue and we unify together, then the fucking all that bullshit that happens in the media, all that shit, it's all for nothing. It doesn't work. We finally took power by not being separated. Okay. It's so obvious to me that that's what the fucking game is. It's like separate us. So we don't play the game. We don't separate. We make pacts with one another. We're not fucking separate. We're all fucking brothers. We're all humans. And we're not separating, we're family, that's my feeling about it. Cause it's two sides of the same damn coin. Damn, what an answer. Thanks, man. You bet, buddy. I I don't get the non-binary situation at all. They are not trans. But I thought, I mean, they're not transsexual, but they are transgender, evidently, according to what I read. Transgender means a different gender than their sex. So they were born as a certain sex, and then they transferred gender. So their gender doesn't match their sex. Transsexual clearly means sex change. So that's at least that's how I read it. I never get misgendered anymore. Pretty basic that I look female in person. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, it's like obvious too, anyways, right? It's like, I mean, if you see somebody that's clear, even if they're clearly a trans woman, I'll fucking give them the respect. Like, they went through a fucking long procedure and they've gone through, I mean, just look, that's a lot of work. So give them the respect of just being nice. Like, whatever you want me to, I'm going to call you she. Of course, I'm going to call you she. I'm not going to be rude and be like, hey, dude, it's obvious you're a dude. That's just mean. It's not fucking cool. Whatever. You worked hard at it. And if that's your happy place, then fuck yeah, I'm stoked for you. That's your happy place. Cool. Come here, let me fucking squeeze your ass and touch your titties. I mean, I'm hetero, so I squeeze boobs, I'm kidding, of course. I'm joking. But, why not kid around and fuck with each other? That's what life's about. Have fun, I mean, come on. So the world is theater. Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Playback designs are pretty plain looking, not hating. I respect their sound and your endorsement of the products. Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I think they're very different looking. They have a curve to them. No sides, there's no straight sides. And then they have fluting all the way across. And they're a color that nothing else is in the whole industry. So all you have to do is see that color and it's Playback designs. You don't even need to look at the lines on it and notice its curves. But I think it is elegant. It's understated elegance. I think things like Dan DiAgostino are gaudy. It's too much. It's like you're just trying. It's like this, I mean, well, and this isn't even gaudy, but it's it's gold and sparkly and all that kind of stuff. Jeff Rollins real pretty, but I don't know. I think at first I was like, oh, it's a weird color and I don't like red, but then I heard it and then it changed everything. Your desire to unite together by class against the establishment is exactly Zoran's platform. Who's that? I'll have to look it up. Who is that? That's not the dude in New York, is it? It is. Okay, yeah. So, but I thought that dude is Muslim. Isn't that dude Muslim? If he's, I mean, I don't. Yeah, who knows? I'll have to read about it. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, I gotta go. So everybody, thanks for joining. I'm gonna end the stream, and I will see you guys on Wednesday with Andreas Koch. All right, everybody. See you.